Huntington. That's technically where all the pill mills were. There's a stat, I was going to pull it, but I was actually going to go use the bathroom. But then you started talking about this. It's like, I just did a shit ton of research on this for our upcoming trip. But like,
welcome to the night zone, hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers, ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw till the battle's won. Fitness tips to faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air. Every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table, come and pull up a chair. Join the brotherhood, words laid bare. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day.
All right, let's get this started. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night Podcast. And tonight I got a special guest. Is actually a referral coming from the guys at the Higher Caliber Podcast. So appreciate them for sending over Dustin Mowery from Mowery Tactical Concepts. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Awesome. Good to have you on board. And then David joining the crew as always. What's up, man?
what's happening, guys?
Yeah, so I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, right now, I don't know if you could talk about what you're doing right now as far as the training that you're offering, but tactical concepts. Are you training just anybody tactical concepts? Are you specializing in certain departments, police training? What's kind of the main idea behind Mowery Tactical?
So right now I really look at and deal with law enforcement and as the whole. Mm-hmm. I do run civilian classes, being a civilian now out of law enforcement right after 27 years, but I will run mainly classes for civilians are going to be pistol and carbine type of stuff. And then law enforcement wise, I'm actually in Mansfield, Ohio this week, teaching high risk vehicle engagements. So basically at a gunfight in and around cars for patrol guys, but it's an instructor level class. Mm-hmm. So we've got 12 students that'll be there this week coming in at Mansfield PD and kind of going through the program, learning and doing teach backs and a lot of stuff like that. So
those that don't know who you are, what's kind of your background that gives you, I don't know, that makes you somebody a department would want to bring in and train their officers? What's your experience level leading into that?
Yeah, so I was a cop for 27 years. I worked down in Southern Ohio. Then I retired after 16 years in Central Ohio to the department there. And my first department, I was a patrol guy for a few years. Then I worked narcotics for 7 on a 2-county narcotics task force. Worked a lot of methamphetamine type of stuff like that. I was not considered a true undercover. I was more working sources and all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then I left, went to my second department where I retired out of, and I was on the team leader. I was a team leader of both SWAT teams at my first department and my second department. And then at the second department, I was firearms instructor, defensive tactics instructor, active shooter instructor. Went to all the active shooter instructor classes that we could bring in.
Yeah.
And that's really what we honed in on a lot because, it's a big thing, across the United States. So, and then we had a very robust firearms program as well. That we based a lot of our stuff off of practical shooting or performance shooting is another way that you may hear that.
And when you say performance shooting, meaning?
So performance shooting meaning test on demand. Okay. Right. So going to the range and you're cold and you pull it out and here we go and you see how you perform overall, just like working out, right? Okay. Like, okay, hey, we're going to see how you perform doing this workout. Same thing. We're just doing it with guns. It's not CrossFit with guns because that's a little weird. You know what I'm saying? That would be a little much, but No, it's timing and scoring your hits on target. So it's using the idea of the way that USPSA, which is a competitive shooting program or competition that you can get into, and it's the points that you score on the target divided by your time.
Okay.
And then that breaks it down, and that gives you what's called hit factor. And the best way to think about hit factor is it's the number of points I've scored a second. So the A zone is worth 5, C zone is worth 3, D zone is worth 1. So then I add up all my points, divide that by my time, and I'm like, oh, okay. So the higher the number, 12, obviously I'm scoring more points a second.
Gotcha.
Which is going to make you a better shooter in the long run. And then there's a whole training paradigm behind that.
Well, because there's got to be a ton of pressure on you because one, you're obviously stopping or fighting a clock. You're competing against others, and then it's not just accuracy; it's efficiency as well. You only have so many rounds, and if you misfire, like that's a wasted round. If you fire off target, that's a wasted round, and it all affects that score. So while it's not live shooting in a sense of there's a guy attacking you out of a car or a guy jumping out of a building towards you and running at you, it's still a process, I'm assuming, where you don't have time to think. It's reacting. And you know, one of the things you hear all the time is you're going to fall to the level of your training. So if your training sucks, you know, you're going to be ineffective in that scenario, regardless of how you think you're going to live at the moment, you know?
Well, and a lot of guys back in the day, you know, we were originally told like, okay, well, you're either going to be super fast or you're going to be super accurate. Well, yes and no. You have to be able to be both. They're not competing forces. Mm-hmm. So like you have to be super fast and you have to be very accurate. And the only way you can do that is through the way that you train. And a lot of guys out there are really looking at the way that you're training, especially dry fire, because it's free. Like you could dry fire down here. It doesn't cost you a dime, right? And then there's different ways to think about it, like how would you do this and how could you make it super efficient? And the shooting community as a whole was stealing a lot of different ideas from different people. For instance, if you like to work out, you know, pick things up and put things down, right? Really heavy, using the idea of RPE in your workouts, right? That rate of received exertion. Well, you can use that same idea for shooting and training. And then you can kind of build out an entire week of a dry fire program that eventually is going to make you very, very, very good. I know guys that are out there much younger than me, half my age. I'm a little bit older. I actually worked 27 years as a cop, right? So guys that are in their mid 20s or to early 30s that they are, you know, starting out shooting, and then within a year to 18 months, they are what's considered they go to what's classification of Grandmaster in USPSA, which those guys they're hitting and scoring 92 to 99% of the points on a stage.
Wow.
At a very fast pace. And so they move very efficiently. You know what I mean? So a lot of different ways that you can kind of look at that and figure out, okay, how can we do that? So in the shooting community, especially in law enforcement, there's a huge push over, I would say, the last 5 years or 6 years. There's a couple guys that really, really push this. And the shooting community for law enforcement is like, yes, let's do that. And because they have done that, there are a lot of departments, again, across the country that are doing this, and they're being very, very successful in shootings. But I would also say to not have to get into the gunfight.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Like there are times like, and you've seen them, if you watch any of the videos, you've seen a police officer, like, you know, they start to panic, right? And they pull the gun and you're like, why are you pulling the gun? Like, is it the right time? And is that, did they pull a gun because were they scared? Did they not trust their training? Or or not have the skill to be able to wait until it was like, yep, and then the gun comes out.
Or not even have the training at all.
Right, which is also a big thing.
I mean, that's definitely a thing I wanted to reach out to you or kind of talk to you about. 27 years ago, I mean, first of all, like half the stuff that we see today, while the technology is not like super new,
right?
Semi-automatics in 25 years ago were not nearly out there at the level that they are now. There's not nearly, I mean, the other aspect of that is the training that people are doing on regular civilians. The weapons training that's out there right now is so abundant.
Yes.
You didn't have that. You know, if you learn how to shoot on your dad's or your grandpa's shotgun,
right,
you didn't have the ability to go buy a Glock and learn how to dry fire in your basement and watch videos on accuracy and shooting. And it's so like things that cops come up against nowadays. I mean, we could talk about the Trump assassination, the shot that dude made with what's it called, iron sights,
right?
I mean, should it be a shot that could be makeable? Yeah, but the fact that kid was early 20s.
Yeah,
he was 20.
It is about to take a shot at the fucking president to be. That's like a high pressure. I mean, for him to even make that shot is ridiculous.
Right.
But I imagine that departments are struggling to come up with the funds in order to train, or is it something that these officers are doing on their own?
So there's right now we're still in that transition period, right? And I say I'm no longer in law enforcement, but I train a lot of cops and I talk to guys all the time, right? And so we're still in a transition period. You still have the old hats or the red shirts in the firearms industries, like we like to call them in law enforcement. They're the red shirts. They're the guys that, they're the law enforcement instructors because they have to have a red shirt on.
Gotcha.
That says instructor. You know what I mean? Big deal. It's fucking massive. And then you have those guys that, are very much the traditionalist. Like, no, you have to stand this way. You have to raise your shoulders. You have to lock your arms out. You have to be front sight focused. And all of these things that have not been working for us. And I'll just be conservative in saying 40 years of law enforcement firearms shootings. It's ineffective. And the best part is we have stats and or numbers. And again, I understand those things can be manipulated and pushed around. But ultimately, when you look at the last 40 years of law enforcement firearms, and then you're looking at all these shootings that are happening, when you legitimately look at it and say, okay, we have a 13 to 20% or 13 to 30%, depending on where you are in the country, right? But as low as 13% hit ratio and as high as even, let's say, 32%. So tell me what we're doing is working.
Right.
It's not.
That's
right?
That's the hit ratio on rounds fired by an officer.
Right.
So where the fuck are this 80 to 70% of those rounds going?
In the area.
Everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere,
You know what I mean?
right?
Like, it's like,
And so if you look at that, and I was not a mathematician, that's why I became a cop, right? But I can math somewhat. So if we say, let's say 20%, and they fired 10 rounds, you're hitting them with 2.
Right.
2 rounds
out
of 10.
Maybe, first of all, maybe disengaging them.
Right. So, but you're not. Most of the time we're hitting them in the guts and we hit them in the legs.
Right. And
So
then the
now
other
we're not
8
even putting
rounds
down.
could be in the fucking people behind you or
Right.
on the other side of the
They
car,
could be
anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. You just
through a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. They're just in this area. So if we know that doesn't work, why are we continuing to do it? I truly believe the answer is because it's the easy button. This is easy. This way of training is easy. I could take 20 of your friends. I could put you on a flat range. We could stand shoulder to shoulder. We're all facing the same direction. You're going to shoot at those targets, lock your arms out, lift your elbows or lift your shoulders and lock your elbows out and do all that other stuff that doesn't work. And we know it doesn't work. That's not how people are really gunfighting. You know what I mean?
It works to show that you can accurately hit a target. Right, that's not
Yes.
moving.
In a controlled
controlled
situation.
environment.
Very,
right.
very
Great. You can
controlled.
fire. Basically, it shows that you can fire a weapon efficiently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In like you said, a controlled environment.
Right.
But officers are not in a controlled environment
No.
when they're having
No.
to pull their weapon.
Right.
And they probably know. I would imagine, like based on that training, they know that. Like you talked about, why is he pulling his gun so soon?
Right.
Well, because he's never pulled his gun in a scenario
That's
other
right.
than
Yes.
prepared.
Well, and then the other thing is you have departments out there that, that they won't admit it, but they're not using timers. They don't have that little gray box or blue box, the stress box, as I call it, to go beep and it's set on a time. And then I'm like, hey man, you shot this and blah, blah, blah. Why did you do that? Because the instructors don't know how to do it, because why? It's the easy button over here. And then again, you have this other newer generation of guys that are coming in, newer officers that are coming in the divisions, and they're getting a foothold and they're talking about things. And what they're going to performance or practical shooting, which comes from the competitive world, right? Now, and I know what guys say and guys think. They're like, well, it's a competition and the targets don't shoot back. And I'm like, that's a cool story. But I know where the target is when that son of a bitch is shooting at me, when he's getting out of his car or coming out of his house. I can see where he's at. So if I know where he's at in real life, and I have 32 targets out here or 14 targets, and I got to put 2 rounds on them, and I have the ability to walk the stage for 4 minutes and get a plan, then if you're so good, then why did you miss those 2 targets?
Right.
Completely. Or failure to engage them. That's another thing that's big, right? In USPSA is like, hey man, and that's a penalty.
Right.
You failed to engage this target. That's a penalty. Well, I forgot. But you know where the targets are.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you understand how and it's a game, let's be honest. USPSA, IDPA, any competition, it is a game.
Sure.
You know what
I mean,
a game.
it's a competition.
Right. It's competition, right? And you should be trying to game that. But there are so many things that you can learn out of shooting matches, either IDPA, USPSA, whatever it is, that will make you a better shooter and more confident in the long run. That it's at this point, if you don't get on this train of practical or performance shooting right now, today in 2025, you wait another year, you wait 2 more years, you're going to be 5 years behind the curve that quick. And you're like, what just happened?
Right.
And it's happening. I'm seeing it happen.
I'm
you know,
sure.
I talk to guys, and other friends of mine that are, other instructors that are out there, and they go to different states as well. And they're like, hey man, listen, like legitimately, there's some young dudes out there that in the next 2 to 3 years, they're going to really push me. And these are high level shooters, so, that's where we need to go. Cause you can see it again, it depends on where you are in the country, but I know several states or several departments out west, southwestern part of the United States that use this practical shooting idea for their officers. Their hit ratio is 75, 80,
Wow.
85, 83%.
Yeah, so
And you're
eventually
like,
it's
why?
going to become like, you're going to have proof in the pudding when it comes to reporting the
Right.
statistics.
Yeah.
And I'd venture to say that person who says, oh, it's, where the targets are, it's target shooting, it sucks. And that's his insecurities coming out because
Right. 100%
he's-
it is.
you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, when you look at training, like there's 2 ways to look at it. You're like, no matter what, I can always train, I can always get better.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be like, oh, I don't need to do this. I'm good enough as it is. And
Right.
I can tell you one of those is going to be the one that ends up with a 20% hit ratio.
Yeah, 100%. And, and that's usually, and again, we've all seen the videos, we've all watched the videos and watched these, these guys get into it. And like one of the things I talk about when I'm teaching classes is like, how many times have we seen officers shoot at the pace of panic?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, the gun comes out and it's just whipping around and it's a horrible grip. And then you're like, and they're screaming at the top. Oh my God. It's like, you were not ready, or
Right.
even you never thought this would happen.
Well, I think that's a good reason too why you see, maybe unlawful shootings. Like you see officers shoot people that they didn't need to shoot, right? Because it's a panic. It's me before them or them before me.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're not trained to like look and be aware of your scenario, your surroundings, like that could definitely be an issue. And if you're not confident of being able to pull your weapon out, I saw a video the other day. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a woman cop who pulled her weapon on this dude. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like,
Right.
I what do you want me to do? Like, and you can legit see the fear in his eyes.
Yeah.
Because she does have a weapon, which means she's obviously scared, and she could easily just pull the trigger and end his life. And this is just a routine fucking traffic stop gone wrong,
Yeah.
And it's scary because anymore, like we talked about it the last time when Jared and them were on. The other thing you see on every single cop video is like they fire until the fucking the gun's out of bullets.
Right. That happens a lot.
So you're assuming there's only one target.
Right.
I guess, because God forbid, should somebody pop out of the back seat or another vehicle, like you're sitting there with an empty magazine and probably not prepared to put another one in right away.
Well, that's academy taught now, because that's your lethal option in that case. And especially if you're a 2 for 10 hitter, you're going to need all 17 and 1 to make it happen. Yeah. And then, then plus go into your additional mags. So,
well, and it also, it goes back to, in their academy training even, right? Like that when they were in the academy, most police academies, and I'll only use Ohio because, being from here and being a cop here and knowing a lot of those guys, when you're in the academy, they're teaching you to pass that qual. That qual was for the academy.
Right. Yeah.
The qual with your department is not for you. It's for your department.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, well, I pass the qual. I shoot 100% every time. That's a cool fucking story, bro. Nobody fucking cares.
Right.
Because it's not for you.
Right.
It's for that admin, the chief, to go,
Pass another one.
Dustin passed another qual. That's awesome. Cool story. Nobody's going to care about that.
Right.
What they care about is, dude, you just shot 2 magazines, right? You just shot 34 rounds and you hit the dude with 2. that's what we should be talking about,
Sure.
and we should be thinking about it, right? So then that's the one of the main issues. And then again, it goes back to, and I believe this, of like they've shot at the pace of panic because when they were on the range training, they never sat and went, okay, all right, from my pistol being holstered to the gun coming out and me firing 6 rounds. Okay, what is that time? What does the time look like on a clock?
Right.
And then what does the target look like? If I do it in 3 seconds from, let's say, a level 3 retention holster, which is what most law enforcement officers carry in the country, a level 3 retention holster from Safariland, right? Not
Kydex with the strap, right?
Yeah, Kydex with a rubber hood or whatever, the strap
You have
across the
to
top of it.
push and shift. It's 3 moves to remove it.
It's you got to, exactly. You're pushing the thumb out of the way or the hood down. You got a thumb release, and then you got to pull it straight up, right?
Right.
So let's say whatever they say or whoever they are, that you should be able to get the gun out of the holster in 1.5 seconds. And then if you do a time standard of 0.2 seconds per each round, okay? So you fired 6 rounds, so that's going to be a second. So let's say it's 2.5 seconds to do that, but you never put them on a timer. And then when they do, you gave them 5 seconds. What did they just learn?
Right. Nothing.
Nothing.
They did.
No, actually they did.
That they could get away with
Shooting very
terribly.
fucking slow.
Right.
Right. They got away with, oh man, I can shoot really slow. And their group is going to be like dead balls. I mean, it's going to be like the size of
course,
quarter,
yeah.
Right. But then it's like, no. I want you to cut that time in half. I want you to get to 2.5. And then we look at your target, and then you go, and then it starts to look like a shotgun, hit it. And you're like, oh, no big deal. We're training.
Right.
This is okay. Like, and it's another thing I talk about in training as well with guys. I'm like, listen, we're training right now. This is all that this is. It's okay to fail. But I want you to, when you do fail, go, why did I fail? What did I do wrong to screw this up?
Right.
Cool. I did this, get over it, and get right back into the training. Go, yes, okay, let me work on this again.
Right.
And that's what guys don't, especially cops, they're like, no, I don't like that. I mean, my target I want it to look like this. I'm like, dude, we're training. This is okay.
Right.
Like I want
that means you're
you
out
to
of your
get-
comfort zone.
Exactly.
Like
You
that's
gotta-
what you need.
Yes, I want you to get used to that. So then, if you, let's say you do get it down to a 2.5, and then at 7 yards or 21 feet, your group looks like it's a little bit bigger than a golf ball, right? So it's 3 inches, 3.5 inches. So it's a good group, and it's it's all these splits and da da da. Now you're like, okay, so now how would your confidence be?
Yeah, fucking way up.
Right. So
Now,
now,
like-
right. So now you're dealing with me and you're the officer, like, and you're seeing me act all erratic and do stuff. You're going to have high confidence, high ability, and you're probably going to wait just a little bit longer to pull that gun. That's truly what when you hear in law enforcement cops talk about or administrators talk about, we need to change the paradigm in law enforcement training. 100% we do. And that's the way we do it right there. The problem is it comes right back to what I said before. That takes work from instructors, and they don't want to do that. They want to hit the easy button and go, that's a lot of work, Dustin. You're right, it is. Because now as an instructor, I have to keep my skills up.
Yeah, of course.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you don't want to get smoked by the freaking 22-year-old fresh recruit that came in there and he's
Yeah.
been practicing for 5 years or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And and I've told this story a couple other times, Jared, and those guys have heard it. And I tell people usually when I'm teaching pistol classes, like the first match I ever shot, it was like early 2020. It was literally like the weekend before the vids kicked off, right? And we're at this match, and I was shooting production in, and so it was basically a gun out of the box. It was iron sights. I could only put 10 rounds in a magazine. It was really limited there with USPSA. And so you got all these, I look like a Batman belt. I got all these magazines on me, and there's this dude in front of me. He's like 65 years old. He literally walks up with a fucking cane, right, to start. And I'm like,
I just wait like a 10-gallon fucking cowboy hat,
Right,
fucking
right.
like
And
bow-legged.
yes.
Marlboro red hanging out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everything you can imagine is like, Jesus Christ. And I'd been a cop, I'd had 20 years in, always been on SWAT. So I was a 20-year SWAT dude, been to a lot of training. I'm like, this fucking guy, So he stands up. He literally gives his cane to the RO, the range officer. Like, hey, Jimmy, hold this for me. And the guy's like, oh, I got you, Mike, He's like, I'll load up. And he loads his gun, he puts it in his holster. He's like, you ready to go? He's like, yep, okay. All right. Beep. Dude, that old dude pulled that pistol out and fucking blazed ops. He shot everything. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, this was pretty amazing. I'm like, Now we'll see how this, I kind of roll my eyes. I look at my buddy. I go, right. Okay. Dude, they walking out, and then because they're scoring targets, like I said, alpha is the best part, right? So it's all center chest, it's USPSA targets. So that's worth 5 points each. Right. And you're shooting 2 rounds per target. So he's like, so the guy walks up, he's like 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha, 2 alpha. And I'm like, so I walk over to the timer. I'm like, hey man, what do you run that in? He's like, well, 14 seconds or something stupid. And I'm like, what did I run that in? He's like, I don't know. So he's pulling up the computer, and he's like, on the iPad, he's like, oh, you ran it in like 32 seconds. I'm like,
he's like, shit.
Yeah. I'm like, so I literally just had my shit pushed in by this old dude. I'm like, okay. And I called a couple of my buddies and I'm like, hey man, I want to know more about this USPSA game. And they're like, gotcha. I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, okay, let's go. And then again, that's where, as a firearms instructor, I took it back to my department and was like, hey, let's do this. Let's do practical shooting. Let's use the skills and drills from practical shooting and train our people to shoot this way. And let's see what happens. And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. So we did a range day. I took them out on the range, got them away. We were still shooting iron, guns with irons on them. I'm like, stop looking at the front sight, look at the target, pick out a very small spot, bring it up when the iron sight, the front sight breaks your eye target line, just squeeze the trigger. And I had a 1-inch piece of tape on everybody's target. Every single person, pow, center punch that tape. And they went, wow, there's something to this. And I'm like, yeah, this is how we're going to train. And that's what we started doing. And
so wait, hold on. What's the trick on that then?
So this is called target focus sighted fire.
Okay.
So if you have an iron sighted gun, you shoot an iron sighted gun just like you shoot a red dot on a pistol.
Right.
Same exact thing. I don't look at the red dot on the pistol.
Right.
At least you shouldn't be.
No,
right?
you're looking through it.
Yeah, you're looking through it. And then basically I pick a spot like on that post over there, right? There's a black mark on it. So if this is my front sight, right? I don't bring it up. I'm not looking at it and then bring my vision back to this, because then I start doing this.
Right.
And you're like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And then your eyes start doing this stuff, right? No, just look at it. When your front sight comes up and it covers up what you're looking at, press the trigger. The round's going to go right where you look. Love it or hate it, the rounds go where you look. How do we know that, right? Look at force on force training for cops. Where do the vast majority of the guys that are playing the bad guys get shot at? They get shot in the hands. Why? Because that's where the officers are looking. They're looking straight there. They're like, pop, and that's where they start shooting. So you do the same thing with an iron-sighted gun. You do target focus sighted fire. I pick a small spot on the target, and I look at that, I cover it up, and when this front sight breaks the eye target line, so if I'm looking at the target like this, and there's a line, imaginary line there, as soon as that comes up and I touch it, I press the trigger. It's like Bob Ross. Remember Bob Ross, the painter? He had the big afro, right? What did he do all the time? He painted happy little trees.
Yeah.
Okay. That dot or that front sight on your pistol is your paintbrush. And as soon as it touches it, you're just going to start painting happy little trees.
So what are you firing that at? What range? Is that like 15 meters?
You can shoot like that very successfully. Now there's different aiming schemes for different style targets and
different. I was going to say probably different distance as well.
Yeah.
Like
so
you're figuring that out as you go.
Yeah. But I shoot that way with a red dot specifically. I'll shoot that way out to 100 yards.
Wow.
With a pistol. That's what you should be doing. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yep, pow. And I just press the trigger. Now the pace is going to be a little bit slower because at 100 yards, I got to, yep, okay, settle, boom. Now then it'll start to look like a dot. There's 3 different aiming schemes, right? When you're shooting that way. And again, it depends once you start to get into the gaming side of things. Like there's partial targets and tuxedo targets that are painted half black, and then they got the brown as the target. You don't shoot the black portion of it, and there's points and misses and all the bunch of other stuff. But it's a very good way to show officers how to shoot very fast, but also very accurately, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, and with the different types of targets too, like you have different scenarios, so it's not just the same up. It's not like it's like military training. When you go to the range, they're all little fucking green dudes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's no like, yeah, you can put rounds on a target at 300 meters, but it's the same fucking 300 meter shot from basically every foxhole that's firing out on the range.
Right. Yeah.
Versus a scenario where you have one of 3 different targets that could pop up at multiple different ranges and a timed environment.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same exact concept, just with a pistol, a little bit obviously closer distances.
Yeah.
So
let me ask a maybe sort of strange question for the timing here.
Yeah.
better practice and better shooting is absolutely necessary today. That's the short version of it, right?
Yep.
What got us here? Like if you think back, like we're all alive in the 90s, like when you compare like, let's say early 90s, I was in college, early 90s.
Yeah, I was too.
But, and we started to see, the gun wasn't invented in the 90s, but, I would say media probably became a little more enhanced in the 90s, and,
Rap
today,
music.
forget about it, right?
Rap music.
Yeah.
Fucking
Gangster rap, you think?
Gangster rap.
NWA was responsible?
I think gangster rap did play a part, a big part in it. Like, I'm not going to blame gangster rap because we all make the fucking decisions to pick up a weapon or not pick up a weapon and use it or not use it. But I mean, I remember in 6th grade when I thought menace to society was the way of life, bro.
Right.
Like I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to graduate and go be a gangster in fucking Compton.
Get
like,
a 5.0 and get some wheels on
let's
it.
Go,
right.
Dude.
Right.
But I mean, that definitely played a factor. I mean, if you look at like the generations through, and I'm not to cut off your subject, but if you look at like the changes in generations, it's typically like, what would you call whatever's hot in society right now kind of forms the next generation.
Trendy and
yeah. I was 18 when I got my first cell phone. Like now, like 9-year-olds are fucking rocking cell phones and doing coding and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like technology affected that, but so
Well, I don't know. What do you think? How did we get here? And just let me add a little more flavor to that because I mean in 1998. LA, well, North Hollywood in particular, you had 2 guys with AK-47s with, 75 round drums, many of them go up against the LAPD. And there were guys that responded with...
Is that in the middle of the day?
Yes.
Middle of the morning.
Yeah,
actually.
I feel like I remember.
It was like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
So, and at the time, there were guys carrying department issue 6 shots with...
revolvers. Yep.
With little mini speed loaders on their belts and shotguns that responded to that. But so things are very different now. But,
I think because I was full-time cop then, because I graduated college in 96, I started in 97, in January 97. And I remember when the North Hollywood shooting happened. I mean, it was huge news, obviously, in the United States.
Well, I think it went live, didn't it, for like the whole fucking morning? Like, I feel like I remember the guys with masks waving their fucking AKs in the air in the middle of the street.
I mean, LAPD had a hard time trying to get like the news helicopters out of there. They were like, "You need to leave now. Like, they're shooting at you. There's nothing we can do for you."
Right.
So I think that was like one of many catalysts that kicked off. And I remember, after it happened at my first department, the chief came in, he was freaking out. He's like, "We got to get rifles." And I'm like, "Yes, we need rifles." And then we get 9mm carbines. I'm like, "Hey man, just so you're aware, that's not a fucking rifle. Like we're on the same page, right?"
That is what they the last remaining guy got hit with because it was one of their SWAT guys was at the beach. And showed up in shorts and a t-shirt, but with a jacket.
Yeah.
Hit him with an MP5.
Yeah, hit him with an MP5 from underneath the car.
Underneath the car,
Yeah, and put that guy down. Yeah. Yeah, because the first guy killed himself just as one of the LAPD guys shot him. Yeah. And then the SWAT dudes, they were either working out or off duty. They came flying over and took that dude out and shot the second guy. Yeah. I think the other thing too that's like changed a lot is obviously active shooters got really big in 98. That's what the first one, with Columbine. And I personally don't mention any of the bad guys' names out of any of those incidents.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, exactly. But that obviously was a huge turn of events for law enforcement, But I think a couple of the other things that go on in a lot of departments still is a lot of agencies have the feeling or the mindset of what's not going to happen here, right? And when I hear that, I'm like, okay, that is a way to talk about that or think about it, right? And I'm like, have you ever heard of Paducah, Kentucky?
Definitely not.
Right. Good luck of finding it on a map.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, they had an active shooter there in 2006, 2007 for time frame, if I remember right.
Well,
but it's a blip. Like you would drive past it and be like, well, I've never gone. I'm going to that. I'm not going there. You know what I mean? Like, they had an active shooter.
We had one in Chardon.
Yes.
I remember.
Was it Chardon or
I think it was
or
Chardon.
Solon?
Well, there might have been two. Chardon was like at
Chardon was an active
04,
shooter.
06,
Yes, that was
something
in a
like
school.
that. That was an older one.
Solon was the officer
But-
that got shot up. He was in his cruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in his cruiser and got ambushed.
But I remember when Chardon happened, I was like, fuck, Ohio? Really?
Right.
Like in Chardon? Like, really? Like,
Yeah.
fuck, man. Like, and you're right. Like, that's expanded. And it's not even about the guys' names. It's really about the whole thing and how it's it's politicized.
Right.
That's another aspect. I mean, we've put this country into two halves, and you're either one side's always right or the other side's always right, or vice versa.
Right.
And
Yep.
you know, everybody wants to blame the other side for everything that happens instead of actually trying to get to the bottom
Right.
or prepare for
100%.
things like this.
Yes. Yeah. And again, I think that's where it comes back to of like, we've gotten here because we've had all these things go on, but fixing this takes a ton of work. So I just go, I hit the easy button.
Yeah.
This is easier. Well, I know. I know it's okay. Like, I know it's a 13 to 17 or 20% hit ratio. I know, but we'll get there.
You were right. It was Chardon in 2012.
Yeah.
2012. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
six student shot.
Yeah. You know, but and then, you know, like I was talking to a friend of mine today, used to be a state trooper, and I'm like, hey man, if you wrecked 3 cruisers as a state trooper in Ohio in 5 years, okay, what would happen? He's like, oh, bro.
I don't think you'd get to number 3.
Yeah, he goes, you are like, after the second one, you're going to a remedial driving package. And I'm like, okay, so let's put that in the idea of shooting, of like shooting firearms training.
mhm.
You know, I know departments out there today that will let their officers requalify 10, 15, 20, 30 times until they get it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? My department, it was, I think if I'd have to pull it up, I don't remember, but it was either 6, you got 3 the first day. And then after that, you got, you had to wait 10 days. You had to go with your supervisor and tell them, hey, I need to go to remedial training. You got 8 hours of firearms training with 2 firearms instructors. And then you had 2 more chances that day. Then if you didn't pass, you waited 10 more days and you had to get it set up again with your supervisor to get 2 different firearms instructors, not the same 2 you started with, 2 different firearms instructors to put you through remedial training. Try it again. And I think you got a total of like 7 times.
I mean, that's still a
After
lot.
that, it is a lot. But after that, you were done.
Well, I was
But I can tell you this, we never fired anybody because everybody was like,
yeah, he took it serious.
oh, they're going to fire us. I'm like, 100% they're going to fire you, as you should be.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's a numbers game too, right? Because it's how many officers you guys have on deck decides, you know, your funding
Right.
and the process of getting through, you know, putting guys through academies.
Yeah.
It's not like you're doing that once a week. There's not starting a new academy. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
And when we were in basic training and stuff like that, it was the same thing in the military. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you got, you know, so many times, but like, be honest, by the 4th time when the guy was at the range and you just knew that this kid was never going to be able to fire a gun.
Right.
Or that
essentially-
you didn't want to work anywhere near him.
Essentially,
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
at that point. They're like, "Yeah, it's good. That's good. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, you hit it right. Yeah, you saw him hit it right." And
right.
like that kid's getting moved on.
Yeah.
You'd have to be a big fuck up in order to get reclassed in basic training for something.
Right.
It is usually because of an injury. It had nothing to do with the fact that you were fat, overweight, couldn't run the 2 mile, or couldn't
Right.
shoot for shit. Right?
Right.
They always found a loophole to get you through.
Yeah.
Because that's one more guy soldier they don't have to turn through. It's a higher graduation class
Yeah.
rate for them.
Yeah.
And with cops, it's the same thing. If this guy gets budgeted for, you know, bring on 10 additional cops, the last thing he wants to do is have 6 months where he doesn't have 5
Right.
additional cops because they don't pass that training.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is it comes back to, right, like everybody wants to talk about, well, it's, you know, you got to train to the lowest common denominator. And I'm like, hold on a second. Hold on. Let's talk about that, right? So, and I ask everybody, you know, who's a cop? I'm like, okay, my department, we had 70 guys, 68 guys, we'll say 70. How many people in my department were the LCDs, as we call them, the lowest
Right.
common denominators? The number is always 20%.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, so that's 14 dudes in my agency. I'm like, okay, so the top 7 guys of that LCD group, those dudes know where they are in the LCDs. And when they get the training, they're like, all right, man, hey, Mowery's here. Okay, we can't fuck around. Okay, cool. I mean, we can smoke and joke and have a good time, but like when we're training, it's serious. Let's, okay. And they will go and do what we tell them to do.
Right.
Right. And then you have you have that middle group of people. Let's say that's 4, right? The 4 middle of the road guys who are like, all right, whatever. And they all half-ass do this, right? They're like, all right, whatever, and those guys, and you know who those dudes are in your division, right? Because those are the dudes that you show up on. We called them runs, not calls for service, but we called them runs, right? So a call for service, we showed up on the run with them, and they were the dude that always, like, he'd be like, hey, what's up? Hey, hold on. Hey, give me your ID. Cool. Hey man, I got his ID for you. Fucking thanks. That was huge help, bro. I appreciate the shit out of you right now. Like, really, I could have done that. Thank you, right? But those guys, those guys. That's what they're going to do anyway, right? So then you have the last 3 or 4 guys, let's say 4 guys, right? Of that lowest, the very bottom crew, that's the 4 dudes right there. They show up to training, they show up on runs, they show up at anything in the department, and they always say this: am I getting paid for this? Okay. Was there overtime out of this? Okay. I'm not getting paid. Yeah, fuck you. I'm not doing it. Well, hey, the department wants to send you to training. Well, am I going to get paid overtime for that? No. You're going to get 40 hours. Fuck you. I'm not doing it. And those are the dudes that stand around with their hands in their pockets.
Right.
Right. So my thing is, again, I'll use my agency, out of those 14 people, and then we have the rest of the division, right? Which is, let's say 66 people, or no, I'm sorry. No, 56 people, right? You have 56 other people that want to come to training, want to do the right job. They do a good job on the road, and they can handle runs, and they do a great job when things go sideways. So tell me why we're talking about this 20% still.
Right.
And why are we teaching to them?
Right.
I don't run training that way, and I didn't in the division that I was in. I was just like, no. I'm like, you're either gonna come over here with us and you're gonna step up and do this, or you're gonna move out of the way. And we'll just start documenting everything. And it was amazing how the switch, and it took a while.
Of course.
It takes a while for
somebody had to see some accountability. Somebody had to see something get changed. Somebody get fired.
Right.
And obviously you have to document fucking everything before you let anybody go.
Yeah. And we never fired anybody, but there were several aggressive negotiations that right. There's several aggressive negotiations. And even in training, and I would just ask them, like, what's your problem? Like, why do you not want to do this? This is bullshit training. I'm like, okay, why? And they could the usual answer was, yeah. So it's really, you don't want to be here.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Then dude, I get it, but guess what? It's mandated training. You're going to be here either way, and you're getting paid. So how about we just do this?
And it's fucking fun.
It's a good time. And that's what I told him. I go, you're getting paid to shoot department ammo.
Yeah.
Or, and the big one also, because I was on defensive tactics team, I helped put that team together as well. But like the DT team, right? Everybody's always concerned about when we're doing combatives or defensive tactics, whatever you want to call it. Like, oh man, hey man, listen, well, I can't get hurt. I'm like, nobody's going to hurt you, bro. Like, and we had a very, very good defensive tactics unit as well. And we talked about
this. Is the same place down south?
Yes. Yeah. Same place, my second apartment. And we had about 7 or 8 guys on that team as well. We had 7 firearms instructors. We had 7 DT instructors as well. And we were on
DT all hand to hand.
All hand to hand, yes. And talk about weapon strips. If somebody pulls a gun on you, get your gun or keep it in the holster, and putting people on the ground or securing them on the ground, or they take you, all the stuff. And I'm like, listen, we can't beat these dudes up. You know what I mean? We have somebody as young as 21, and we have people here that are late 50s. I'm like, so we have a vast age difference. I go, all of these dudes and chicks have to go to work the next day. I'm like, do we want them to come back to training and like training, or we just want to beat the brakes off of people? And they're like, well, I don't want to beat the brakes off. I'm like, okay, then let's put that dumb shit over there.
Right.
Like, stop that. And that's another big thing in law enforcement as well. Like, stop doing that stuff. Like, we don't need to beat the brakes off of you, to make you understand. No. I'm trying to teach you techniques, or give you some principles to follow that you can use in all these different situations and put in there and go, oh, I can use this over here. I can put this in here. Okay. It's like making stew, right? You're like, oh, I can put all that shit in there. Oh, it works for this. That's cool. All right. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make a totally different batch of stew. Right.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same concept. And
once
we did that, it was good.
I talked about that with the guys, because I went down to Tim Kennedy's class down in Austin, Texas, at his course, where they do basically protector classes like the one that I did. So it was like the first half of the day was jiu-jitsu. The second half of the day was firearms training at the range.
Right.
And the first day of jiu-jitsu was like drilling on some basic stuff. But I mean, you're nonstop from the time you get there 7 till 12.
Right.
And then the next day they brought in weapons, and it was knives and guns and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And,
Yeah.
I'm a bigger dude, especially at that time. I was probably like 230, and I always thought to myself, like, I mean, yeah, somebody could be like highly trained, but I could still get away if I needed to. I could,
Right.
And it was like eye opening though, to like that a guy could just like basically hover over me,
Right.
And I couldn't get up.
Yeah.
It's a little different fighting somebody who really knows how to fight, can wind you out in 3 minutes.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where, like, you know, you're talking about DT training and like, oh, we don't want to beat these guys up. No, but today we just talked about it with shooting. It's the same thing with martial arts.
Yes.
Like, you don't know.
No.
The 5'8", 100. You know, we had Mason on here who calls himself the lesbian gym teacher. You know, he's like 5'8", fucking 160 pounds.
Right.
With 10 years of mixed martial arts
He's
training.
the worst guy to fight ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Never give up.
you think
That's
you're
right.
just pulling this dude over. He's in his beat up fucking Chevy Cavalier or whatever, smoking some dope, and you go to fucking rough him up, and the next thing you know, you're on your
Right.
fucking face buried into the fucking concrete. Your weapon's fucking halfway across the street,
Right.
and your partner's sitting over there. Then just decides to empty a fucking round into a clip. You know what I mean? Like, the scenario could get out of hand really quick,
Very quickly.
without that
Yes.
adult training. So when it comes to defensive tactics, are you seeing more police departments now getting into hand-to-hand combat? Because I mean, my first thing is I look at police departments; they're fucking all out of shape.
Yeah. A lot
Like,
of dudes
all
are.
of them are so out of shape. It's disgusting.
And a lot of that comes back to, you know, guys working shift work and whatever. And, you know, but yes, I have seen a lot more people get into DT because they need it, you know, but there's a way to do it, right? Like, just like in firearms, like, I'm not going to have you shoot at such a fast pace that you're missing the entire target, right? So let's put that idea, that same principle into defensive tactics. I'm 6'3", 215 pounds, have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a bunch of other background in martial arts or whatever. So I understand you're not going to be able to do what I can do. However, I'm going to train with you and show you these 4 or 5 different ideas or principles that we can use throughout this training day. And I'm going to let you put them on me, and I'm going to talk you through this whole thing of, hey man, do that. Oh, don't do that. Well, why shouldn't I do that? Okay, well, here's what could happen. I'm going to take your shit from you.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, okay. So then you know, it's like fanning the fire, right? Like, you got to like build that fire in, and then they're like, oh, okay, all right. And then the other thing is that police departments or trainers don't understand, and law enforcement is like, okay, you start a defensive tactics program, or you start a new firearms program or whatever. Well, from the day that you introduce that until the time that the entire division gets on board with the program and can start repeating back to you, like, what you want them to do and or see what they did wrong and they fix the mistake, is 3 to 5 years.
Easily.
Right. And guys go, that's bullshit. I'm like, well, think about it. Like, okay, my department, like, we were very progressive in training. Like, dude, we had firearms training every single year, defensive tactics training every year. We had active shooter training every year. We had a ton of scenarios that we would do for low-level light, building cert, all kinds of different things that guys did as a patrol guy every single year. And they're like, okay. And I go, all of those things you're doing one time.
I was just going to say that's
One
once
time
a year.
That's right. And I'm like, you're not going to be as efficient as blah, 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 who's a black belt in BJJ over here. Like, I love you, dude, but you can't do that. So when you put the program together, you have to understand every single time, like, okay, 5 techniques in DT I start with, right? Okay, here's what we're going to do. And we're going to hammer these for the next 5 years. And the only thing we're going to do, we're still going to use these 5, but we're going to put them in different scenarios to where they can still do those 5, right? That's a 3 to 5 year project. Then each time you add something else into it, another idea, another principle, or I don't like to call them techniques. I say principles, because principles I can use in all these different situations, right? So every time I introduce a new principle, that's 3 to 5 years. And everybody's like, and I go, it's nonstop. It has to, it's the idea of training is it's never ending. You know?
Well, and it has to be more consistent, right? Like,
Yes.
it can't be, I feel like it can't be an option. Like it's got to be part of a department program.
Yes. And
if you're going to be 100% bought in, and they should be.
Yeah.
I would prefer to see. I would love to hear that our local police department was doing jiu-jitsu or hand-to-hand combat training 3 days a week and firearms training 2 days a week.
Right.
Because to me, that would mean they were going to be more efficient.
Well, the problem is there'd be nobody on the streets.
Yes, that's the other issue. Because now you're running in like, okay, let's say it's the average police department in the United States today is 20 people.
Wow.
20. That's it. That's not a lot of dudes. My first department I started at was 20 people. I mean, so now put in, okay, days off, vacations. And then again, part of those LCDs, right? That lower group, that last dude that's at the very bottom. Oh, hey man, you got mandatory training today. Cool story. I'm sick.
Yeah.
Every single time you're like, bro, what are you doing? You're telling me you're sick every single time? I'm not going, Dustin. Okay. But I still have to rely on that dude.
Right.
I'll be there for you. No, bro, you won't be. You're here for the blue paycheck.
Right.
You're here for that cop check. That's why you're here. But then again, you've got vacation time. The guys that, it's like, well, man, this is not my life. It is my life, but I got to go take vacations. I got to go, I'm going to this. I'm doing that with my family. And, so you have to work around all of those schedules, and then you got guys that, it's like, okay, well, how much overtime is budgeted for this? And that's where it comes into it. My department did, my last department did a very good job of like, we would have, okay, hey, this is 4 days of firearms training in the summertime. This was the block. And then you let the lieutenants put their people in. And the lieutenant on the shifts would be like, hey, this is our time. When do you want to go?
Right.
Guys would start filling in, but also we made the training fun. We weren't trying to pound them into the concrete. It wasn't CrossFit with guns. You know what I mean? Like we were trying to learn some shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways you can do it, and I would also say just because the bigger the department doesn't mean the better the department at training. I mean, I've been to some really, really large agencies and I'm like, wow.
Well, I would think a larger agency is a lot easier to probably slip through the cracks.
Yeah. Depending on where you are. I mean, I know one very extremely large agency. I mean, they had their own internal affairs bureau at the range with cameras out there.
Wow.
And they watched you and you had to sign in, you had to sign out for lunch. You signed back in after lunch. If they suspected you drinking, right? Like on your lunch break, which I know there were dudes that did that. Like there was a lot of stuff going on.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, but again, you think these really big departments, like, oh man, these guys are going to be shit hammer hot. And you're like, only if you're in a specialty unit. Because the thing is, man, those runs stacking up on that board, it doesn't stop. They just keep going. Well, somebody's got to go to that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like somebody called and said, hey, my house was burglarized. A uniform patrol guy's got to show up and take the paper on that thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
when it comes to, we talked about, I can't remember who it was, but we talked about the level of training between like special ops and stuff like that in the military versus everyday soldier. Is it pretty significant difference too in the police force when you have like SWAT and SRT and all these different teams versus, everyday law enforcement? Like the training that's available to them is considerably different, obviously, because of what you guys are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But is that growing further apart?
It depends on where you are in the country. You know what I mean? Like, and it also depends on how big your agency is or how much your agency believes in that SWAT team. My department really believed in our tactical unit. So we went by the NTOA standards, which we can talk about that later, but the NTOA standards were 16 hours a month minimum. So we always stuck to that. So we always training wise. Mm-hmm. So we did 16 hours a month. There are other teams out there that they're like, yeah, we get 4 hours a month. And I'm like, okay. And you can do that, but it's like, all right, well then you have to really look at and hone in on, okay, what are we doing? Like when we're going to training, what are we doing? Okay. And then my question would be, and I've done this because I've taught a lot of SWAT classes. It's like, okay, well, what does your team really do? We're a search warrant team. Cool. And you get 4 hours a month of training. Yes. Okay. Here's what I would do. I would practice CQB and I would practice shooting every time. For this month, it's going to be 4 hours. The only thing we're going to do is CQB. Next month, we're going to the range for 4 hours. Month after that, we come back and we do CQB. And then, because you're going to get really good at those things, you know what I mean? And you're going to build those things up. And then after you get that down, and after probably 2 to 3 years, then we can go, okay, now let's see if we can figure out barricades. Like how would we handle a barricade? You know what I mean? And again, it depends on where you are. And if it's a full-time teams sometimes get more training and sometimes don't. Because sometimes they get they get pulled in so many different directions, you know, and what they're doing and what their responsibilities are, that they don't get as much because they're out like doing other stuff, you know, as a team. So, yeah.
How did you decide to, obviously when you retired, how did you decide, hey, like I want to get into this full time and training this and start, you know, your company?
Yeah. So I was, I really did it because I really enjoyed firearms training, defensive tactics, active shooter training, my vehicle program that I started years ago. I started teaching, and I think I went to my first instructor class. I started full time in 97, and I went to my first instructor class, which was defensive tactics, in 98. So and then in my first department, we didn't train a lot. We did on the SWAT team, because I was on our SWAT team there. Eventually became the team leader, and then left and went to my new department, and then was made the team leader there. And we got a ton of training. So just over that 16 years at my last department, I really got into training. And then I started shooting with other guys, and then I was training with some other people, because I've worked for a couple of other companies. And in working with them, I'm like, yeah, I want to continue to do this and push the knowledge and the information that I have out there as long as I possibly can. I don't want to be 65 out there still doing this, like the dude.
You mean with the Marlboro out your mouth and a cowboy hat?
Yeah, I was pretty sure that was future you. You were describing
I was describing myself in that. Yes, exactly. But yeah, I want to be able to, you know, continue to give back and help guys out. And it is a lot of fun, you know, because I've gotten to travel around the U.S. quite a bit and teach different agencies, some bigger agencies, medium, smaller agencies as well. But
I was going to say, for you to start on your own, obviously you go through a point of like having to grow something. And then like, you know, people need to know who you are, your experience. Like, you know, especially you talked about going around the country, like Indianapolis isn't going to be like, oh, let's just randomly find a guy. Oh, this guy says he shoots and trains. Let's just pick him up. Right?
Thing. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So what was the process like when you first started? I'm going to start doing this. Like, how did you start finding, you know, the first couple to trust you? And was it mostly your local ones, like guys that you knew already, or?
Yeah. So I was very lucky. I started out with a company in 2016 called 88 Tactical. They were based out of Omaha, Nebraska. Owner is Shay again. Phenomenal guy. Still love Shay today. He's such a good dude. Used to be he was a police officer out in Nebraska area. I started there. And
so you were working for him at that point?
I was working for that company at the time in 2000. He brought me on, in 2015. I did some vehicle stuff with a different instructor there. And then that instructor and I started teaching and training together a lot around the U.S. And then he left to go start his own company. And then they asked me to write a new vehicle program, which I did. Sat down, kind of wrote some stuff out. And then they were the ones that kind of helped get me bigger in the industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to get you noticed.
Yeah, to get me noticed a little bit more. And then I worked with them up until 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then I'd already had my own LLC. I'd already had Mowery Tactical Concepts for several years, because I'd worked for the Ohio Tactical Officer Association here in Ohio for OTOA. I worked for them, and I was one of their instructors here in Ohio. So I was, you know, down to Cincinnati, up here in Cleveland area, in Mansfield.
Yeah, just bouncing all over.
Just bouncing all over the place while I was full-time copping and trying to raise a family and be married and, you know, do all that thing and not get divorced, you know?
Yeah.
So I did all that, and that's really where I got my foot in the door. And then after I left 88 and left OTOA, I wanted to continue to do that. And then but I wanted to wait until I was retiring. Because I had a lot of stuff at work that I still had to do, and I wanted to do it on the job, for training wise, especially because again, our training program was pretty robust, is still pretty robust, and it was things that I wanted to accomplish there. And then once I retired last October, so I retired October 17th of 24.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thanks. It was a great career. I loved being a cop. It was hard to walk away, but it was time too. I'm like, all right, I can't do this forever. You know what I mean? It's a young man's game. You know what I mean? And
I know, I've seen some of the young men out there. I feel like I would have you on my side before.
Right. Yeah. Some of the dudes, right? You're just like, bro, you should not do this job. Like, how, you know what I mean? But, so then in January of this year at 25 is when I made the company official, or made it public, because it was always around, or it had been around for a long time. So then, and then another friend of mine was really like, dude, get out there on your own, get your name out there. You know, let's go do this. I'll support you and help you as much. And he has his own training company as well. And he really pushed me hard to like, no, go do this, you know? So yeah, that's kind of how it all came about.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's been really good. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely a need for it, not only from the officers, but you said you do some civilian training. You offer classes to civilians, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I do. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the more that you can offer, the better.
What's that like? Like, what do you offer for just the regular folk out there that want to protect themselves and their family?
Which is one of myself now, right? Yeah. No, so I'll do a lot of pistol shooting classes with them. I have done a couple of carbine classes for civilians. I think that's okay. I think, I go back and it's kind of funny to think about, but you go back to the old idea or what the Japanese general said during World War II, that we can't attack America because behind every door or blade of grass is a man with a rifle. America, we are riflemen, right? And I was never in the military. I'd never say that I was, but that old Marine Corps idea, they're all riflemen, right? I believe that, if you have an M4, you should know how to use it.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, you know what I mean? Because that's how you also prevent accidents. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I tell this to civilians, I tell it to cops too. I'm like, listen, I'm going to make you a safer shooter, which is going to make you or help you make the range safer. I don't create a safe range because then you come up with all these crazy ass rules. Like, well, you got to unload and show clear after every. Really? Come on, dude. You're going to be carrying that gun in your pants, or on your side, like for real. As soon as you leave here, like we're going to run a hot range. I ran a class a week or two ago, and I explained that to them, and they were all civilians. They're fantastic people. They were great to meet and talk to and listen to their stories of why they started carrying and what they wanted out of the training and stuff. And it was interesting. But when I said, I'm like, yeah, we're going to run a hot range, the one guy kind of looks at his buddy and he's like, we're allowed to do that? I go, yeah, dude, because you do that out there, right? And he's like, yeah. And I go, please tell me you carry around that chamber. He goes, oh, yeah, I do. Because I've ran into people that don't. I'm like, explain to me why. You know what I mean? Like, and some people, they think it's a very valid reason. You know what I mean? Most of the time it's because they're scared. They just don't know. And I'm like, no, let's educate you. Like, let's give you training. You know what I mean? So I'll do a ton of training on pistol stuff with people. I've done church security teams. I really enjoy doing those. Those are fun because most of those people, like, they're like, hey, I'm here to help protect the flock. I think that's super cool. And churches are getting attacked all the time. And we just had one in Colorado just a few weeks ago at the Catholic school, for whatever reason we'll probably never understand or
I mean, most of these cases I don't think we really truly understand.
No.
You know what I mean?
Don't.
And then when you talk about like what's the quick response is usually like, oh, take away everybody's guns, that'll fix the problem. It's like most of these people that are doing crimes with guns are not really concerned about how legal it is to get one.
Well, did you hear about the assault knife in Charlotte the other day?
Right.
Assault knife?
Just an assault knife.
The homeless guy stabbed and killed the Ukrainian girl.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I did not hear about that.
Yeah.
Just happened. Like that was last week, right?
I think it was 2 nights ago, I think.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. It just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assault knife, huh?
Yeah,
she's over 4 inches.
I mean, she's dead. So it's
a knife is a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to quickly go to that argument when the gun control conversation comes up after that. And this is kind of a little bit of a dark thought here, but any one of us could walk into a school. We've had this conversation before. Any one of us could walk into a school and hurt people with our bare hands, let alone, oh, there's a pair of scissors.
Right.
Well, that's now, that's an AS-15 now. That's assault scissors.
Right.
15 now. Right.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. So I mean, you can try and remove guns. It's never going to happen. But you can, for politics or whatever, it can keep coming up. That's never going to happen. But even if you do, okay, so then people will just get killed differently then.
Right.
So we're going to remove knives,
scissors,
pencils.
Well, I mean, I know I have a very good friend of mine that was a London Metropolitan Police officer for years in a London Met.
No carry.
And well, it depends. They have unarmed guys. That's what we normally see.
Batons.
The typical bobbies, they have that wooden baton that's made out of pine, by the way. That thing is like, it's a toothpick.
Yeah.
They took 100 toothpicks and glued it together, right? Like real talk, right?
Yeah.
You have those dudes, but then they also have their armed guys. And those guys are legit.
Right.
But my buddy wasn't
highly trained.
Highly trained, but my buddy was in a different unit and we were having the same conversation. I'm like, yeah, but London, like England, you guys don't have guns. And he goes, yeah, dude, the year that I retired, we had 2,000 gun calls that year.
Wow.
I'm like, hold on, not London, Ohio, or London, Massachusetts, or wherever else, like London, England, the UK. And he goes, I'm very familiar, motherfucker. I grew up there. You know, we're laughing. He goes, yeah, 2,000 gun calls.
Wow.
And I'm like, and he goes, double that with knives.
Yeah.
Triple with that with knives.
Yeah.
He goes, crazy. He goes, then, of course, they call them batons, right? Little clubs. He's like, the amount of people that would pick up a baton and like just start randomly batoning people. He's like, dude, it was off the chain. And I'm like, right, because human beings like to have weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the dawn of time, human beings have had weapons, and they
Right.
always will. So, like, you know, to your point, right? Like, okay, take the guns away. Okay, they're going to grab scissors.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or they're going to just 3D print them and
Right.
they
Or
Or
start
they're
having-
going to make bombs, or they're going to do
Right.
something.
They're gonna do
else. Like,
something.
unfortunately,
You know what I mean?
we live in a
Yeah.
day and age where if somebody wants to create harm, that's part of living in a free country too, right?
Mhm.
It's like somebody wants to create harm, somebody wants to hurt people. Hopefully, somebody stops them before they do it. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's the difficult part of a free country,
Right.
right?
Right.
Is
Oh, yeah.
like you can't police free will.
No.
No matter what you take away from people, there's always going to be. I mean, legitimately, like these tripods right here in front of me. Like, what's to stop me from breaking off the ends of them and running into
Right.
a crowded building and just running them
Nothing.
right through 4 people?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so you know, as awful as that is, like that's what training's for in every
Yes.
scenario for
Yeah.
these police departments. And I touched on it a little bit earlier. I don't think I mean, I always kind of had an idea of like, and even the military, the U.S. military, very same standards. We had this conversation with the Air Force recruiter is like, our physical fitness standards have really fallen off. It becomes one of those things that's just like firearms training where it's like, well, as long as they're close, like let them slide. Right. And it's funny because how much that's changed since like the 50s or 60s. You ever see like that gym class photo from the 60s where like every kid's got a 6-pack and a white t-shirt?
When Kennedy put it out, the presidential physical fitness. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think it really hit me. And we tell this story. I don't think I ever told on the podcast, but my first night traveling to Greece with my wife, we're in Athens and we're sitting outside a balcony, like just looking out over the town. And like Athens is crazy packed, people everywhere. We're like, across from us is like a 5-story apartment type building. And like between like each apartment's like these wall lockers that separate their balconies or whatever. And like there's this dude that like climbs over the top of one. We don't think anything of it. Like, what's that guy doing over there? Maybe he got locked out, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you see him go to the next door up and he opens a door, walks inside for a minute, and then a light turns on and then he comes out. So like 5 minutes later, the police show up.
Mm-hmm.
We're like watching this whole thing unfold. And I'm like, he's up there, dude. He's on the top, he's on the roof at this point. And this cop, first of all, they all get out of these cars that are half the size of this fucking table.
Oh yeah. They're so tiny,
But they're all 5'11" to 6'2", 230 pounds. And I just picture them all in the car like, Dustin, make this move faster. Like,
right.
This dude jumps up to the second floor balcony so fast, pulls himself up, jumps to the 3rd floor, pulls himself up. This dude scales 5 stories, and I swear it was less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And
he was one of the officers.
yeah, one of the
wow.
cops.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But he was just wearing skivvy shorts and a t-shirt.
Right,
He
yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
35
Yeah.
pounds worth of armor or
these
gear
dudes
on
were
him or
in
anything.
full fucking cop gear, dude.
Yeah.
And he just fucking hightails it up this fucking thing. And my wife and I are looking at each other like, holy fucking shit. Like, do you imagine cops doing that? Anyhow, the dude ends up like going to the attached building. So the cop gets up there. He runs down the next building. He's locked in there. All of a sudden you hear like this. And it's like the bottom door to the second building is locked, and the burglar or thief is trying to like break through the glass. And the cop, he like literally pokes a hole through the glass, and this cop, without even doing anything, reaches through, grabs him, and just yanks him through the glass door.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking impressive as shit. So we end up being witnesses. So they're like, oh, we're gonna take you to the police station. We go to this police station. It's literally a dark parking garage in the middle of the city. I don't even know how we got there. We got there so fast. We're in the back seat of this little cars.
Yeah.
The chick who called the cops, this college student, is in the back car, the same car as the guy that they fucking arrested.
Oh my gosh.
Sitting there. They bring us to this parking garage in the bottom of the police station or whatever. We're all sitting there in these shitty ass chairs. The cop fucking rolls a cigarette so fast. I've never seen, like, he literally like flicked his fingers, did something, and then before I knew it, he had like a freshly rolled fucking cigarette. He starts smoking, and he's talking to us and shit.
Right.
And meanwhile, the dude's still sitting there, just blood just everywhere, blood everywhere from being pulled through the glass window and shit. And anyhow, the whole thing goes down, and we start talking to the dude, and we're like, you know, what is like the training for you guys, because all these dudes are jacked. They're all fucking in great shape, and I was like, it would not have went down like this in Medina, Ohio.
Yeah.
They talked about like you have to have military training for like 2 years, and then you go through 6 months for police academy, and then you go on like a specific training regiment for a year before you're like active,
right?
Like before you're allowed to go out on calls and shit.
Yeah.
And training every day before your shift for physical fitness.
A little bit of parkour.
Yeah.
Whether it's the gym or whatever, but they were telling all the stories and shit like that. And I was like, man, like these guys take it serious being a cop over here. Now, in Athens, it's fucking insane. Like people talk about Cleveland and shit like that. There's literally like fucking millions of people. They let all immigrants are just everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
everywhere.
And they start up gangs and shit like that. So it's a crazy ass city. But at the same point in time, you know, you get back here and it's like, dude, I don't see 90% of cops, I feel like wouldn't be able to chase me more than like 2 blocks before they run out of breath. Like, are you starting to see more? And that's all to go to. Are you starting to see more of a focus on that or do you still see it even when guys show up to the range, guys to show up to defensive tactics class? Like, you're just like, man, like this is going to be a lot harder for you because you're heavy.
Yeah. I think it's a generational thing as well. Like, again, the guys that are coming in today, the younger generation, these guys are interesting because they want all of the data. Like they want all of the information. Like they want papers on everything. Like, okay, hey, where did you get that? Okay. Like they are going to write it all down and they'll research the crap out of it. But they're also researching like, okay, how do I stay in shape? And they're reaching out to like collegiate level strength conditioning coaches and saying, hey, all right, come in here, come to my department. We're going to put a strength conditioning program together. Like, okay, let's do this, you know, like, and this is why, blah, blah, blah. And you're starting to see more of that. And you're starting like, and I talk about this as well, like in firearms, you know, training guys like athletes, you know what I mean? In firearms training. Cause if you think about it really, like you asked earlier, what does performance training, what does that mean? Okay. Well, if you think about it, I have to be athletic in nature because I'm running around with a gun in my hand. So it's an athletic event. Like I'm about to do an athletic event. So if I have to run from where I'm sitting now upstairs out the front door and everything, that's being athletic. I have to do that with a gun in my hand. And then wherever I get to, I may have to shoot a guy. Oh, okay. So it's an easy way to think about it. And the younger generation of guys that are coming in, like that's what they want to do. I had a couple guys on the team that I was on, my SWAT team when I was there before I retired. These guys were savages. Like young dudes, hungry, like for anything and everything. Like, you know, they knew that I was in my 50s and they're like, let's go. Come on, we're going to run 100 yards. We're going to sprint from the 100-yard line, run all the way down to the 10-yard line, come out, bring your gun out, and you got to shoot 6 rounds in so many minutes, which a buddy of mine, Matt, was the one that put that together. Like, I want to see what you do it. And I'm like, okay. So I did it. And they're like, oh, God damn it, you beat me on it. They're like, I'm younger than you. I'm like, yeah, but you're dumber. You're an idiot. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I don't, you know, and I'm like, I'm being more efficient in what I'm doing when the shooting is going on. You were running like, you know, bull through China shop, breaking everything. Okay. Then we shoot. And I'm like, you have to think about making it more efficient. And then they were like, okay. And then they would literally go and practice that for like 30 minutes. They're like, man, I don't have to work out tonight. I'm just doing this. I'm like, whatever, you know, and they did their thing, you know? So it's very interesting. But again, like some of the guys, the older guys that are in my generation or even just right behind us, some of those guys are still, like I was talking earlier, that old school red shirts, the FUDs, as we love to call them in the firearms industry. Yeah, they were FUDs, right? You know, like, well, you know, I'm a firearms instructor. I know your shirt tells me that you are, right?
Right.
I figured it out, bro. But some of those guys, not all of those dudes, are wanting to, you know, move into that because, you know, it also goes back to like, it's hard. It's hard to switch, you know, and think differently and do things differently because, you know, the famous 7 words in law enforcement, right? It's the way we've always done it. You know what I mean? And it's hard to get around, you know, even when they have facts in front of them saying the hit ratio is 13 to 20%. Like, what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Well,
Sure.
Here we are. This is where we're at. You know what I mean? So,
well, and I think that's, you know, that comes across every industry when it comes to leadership, like the fear of change and the fear of the effort it takes to create a change and make something happen is way outside the perspective of what they think they is capable of.
Yes.
Right. And they don't want to put in the work.
Right.
and they don't
Right.
think anybody else is going to put in the work, which means it's going to fall on them, which means it's never going to happen, and then it's going to be
Yeah.
a disaster,
Yeah.
and they're going to have to answer and be held accountable towards it. And
Yeah.
I think that goes in a lot of industries.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you feel AI is going to impact what you do?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's going to change a lot of it. Because then it's going to be like, okay, what's real and what isn't, of
Like in terms of like evidence gathering?
evidence gathering. And also, okay, we've always heard in law enforcement, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Is that the real picture?
Right.
Did you take that picture for sure?
Yeah.
You're telling me it's not an AI picture, right? And then like how to get around all of that and figure out what is AI and not AI. And I'm sure they're going to use AI to be able to tell you, oh, this is AI, right? You know what I mean?
Wait,
like
the AI is policing the AI?
You're right. Yeah. Isn't that
Wait
a
a second.
double entendre or something, right? But yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's good, but they're like everything else, just like the internet before, trying to control it is going to be extremely difficult. You know what I mean? Like there's, I don't know how much you guys are on IG or whatever, but you see the AI videos of like the Yeti and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Running around, and that's all AI. I'm like, this is amazing videos. Like these are hilarious. I watch them all the time.
I do
just
too.
cry laughing. My wife's like, what are you watching? I'm like, I'm watching this Yeti run around again. She's like, you're an idiot. I'm like, I can't turn this off, but yeah, I think it's going to really change a lot. I think it could help, but again, I think we need to be very careful with how all of that stuff goes,
Well,
so.
it's interesting because I looked at it from a different point of perspective. When you said, how is AI going to affect that? I looked at it as like, if I'm trying to create a school, or like what are some different scenarios that I could train for? Like, what does AI tell me the best thing is? So I just quickly looked, I was like, hey, if I'm a officer approaching a car where I believe that the driver may be carrying a weapon, how should
Right.
I approach it or whatever? And it gives you like a full breakdown. And
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? And it's like, how beneficial is to have that aspect of it, because you can plug in any scenario that you want. You
Yeah.
could literally dry fire your mind on
Yes.
how to prepare for a scenario.
See
You
what
like
you did.
it?
That's right. I see what you did there.
Cute.
Yes,
Which is awesome, because there's a lot of things that it's obviously it has that information that's out there. It probably pulls from websites like your own,
Yeah.
or videos like your
yeah.
own and others that are out there, and it pulls up this different data. And so it's another way that could be used, but then it also works the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would never ask it, because I don't want my fucking computer to like fucking drop
Yeah.
bombs on me or whatever. But like, how do I conduct a school shooting?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well-
like there's different, like, what does AI say to something like that? I mean, I'm sure it's hopefully to some degree doesn't want you to do that, but I'm sure it'll give you
Yeah.
that information.
Well, I mean, what was it, just last week? They were talking about one of the AI apps, that you can get. And this kid typed in, how do I write a suicide letter and how do I commit suicide?
I heard that.
And it told him.
And he did it.
And he did it. I mean, and it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to hold, whatever that company is,
Right.
to the fire. And
Yeah, I
use-
don't remember which one it was.
I don't
It
either.
might have been
Yeah.
Grok. Was it Grok? Because I heard
I don't know.
it was actually on the Rogan podcast where they were talking about that, and they were also talking about Grok like shutting itself down for like 3 days or something like
wow.
that. Or that might have been something else. But it's like, yeah, dude, they're trying to hold it accountable now.
Yeah.
Whoever it was that did that, and it's
Right.
Obviously people can find. It's just fucking technology, man. You can find out so much
So fast.
so fast.
Yeah.
That you can never do. I work in the private security sector as a consultant. I I use software that private security companies, security guards, different things like that utilize to conduct their reports, their tours, their checkpoints along the road. And like I could literally put in a client's website, a couple of names from their employer dashboard, and it can give me like 25 ways to reach out to these people and pull up all the different incidents that they've been involved in over the course of the last 5 years, different
Right.
projects that they're starting to create,
Right.
what kind of clients they serve, all this stuff. It would take me days to get that information
Right.
before. And if
Right.
I didn't have the internet, it would be impossible to get it without 2,000 phone calls to a bunch.
Yeah. To a bunch of buddies.
Now
right?
I get that in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like the data, the ability to access this different stuff and think creatively. Like,
Yeah.
and I know people are like, oh, how many jobs is it going to take away? I think it's going to make more jobs.
I think it's going to create a ton of jobs.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, you know, and you guys know how this is. I mean, once you put it out on the internet, man, you can never take that back.
Never.
Like it is there forever. You know what I mean? And yeah, you can pay services to bury it or do whatever, but it's still
It's
there.
out there.
You know what I mean?
Somebody's got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was Chat GPT.
Oh,
Was it
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah,
insane.
It is. It's wild. And, you know, I think again, trying to control that is like trying to control the internet. Like, okay.
You're never going to do it.
No, it's going to be difficult. And I think still at the end of the day, human beings are going to have to step up and go, nope, that was too much. And now the other problem is this is also going to create more laws that law enforcement has to deal with and try to enforce. And some of those, you're just going to be like,
And how do you do that in the cyber world?
right. I mean, you're going to need police officers that like are legitimately detectives that they are cyber specialists. This is all they do.
That's all they do. Yeah.
Well, I
That's
mean,
the only case they handle.
There is actually already a little bit of case law for that. If you guys, well, I know you're familiar with Waymo, but there's now a civil liability to. Are you familiar with Waymo?
No.
So it's an autonomous taxi. So
Okay.
they started in San Fran under Google, and then they became their own company. And so they've got them in LA, Austin, Phoenix, a few other places. But so you have a car that's fully autonomous,
Oh, okay. Yes.
completely autonomous.
I've heard of those, but I didn't know that
You
was the name of the company.
You download the app, you hop in, and it
Yeah.
drives. So there's no driver. So what happens if the car is speeding or marked lane violation or
Right.
hits somebody?
Yeah.
So the company actually gets charged civilly for the vehicle code. In California, it's California vehicle code. So if
Right.
it hits a car and it's at fault for an accident, they actually cite the company
No
as
kidding.
the driver.
Wow.
So
Who
so
gets
it's-
the points?
they don't. They get
Who gets the points? Yeah.
They get
So
a-
there is
who
a
takes
way
those
around
12?
license
Yes.
suspensions.
Right.
Just start
Yes.
a company and be like,
Yes.
it was the company car. It did it on its
It
own.
was not me.
Yeah. I mean, if you can afford I think each of those cars are around $700,000. So yeah, if you can
Wow.
afford that, I mean, they put it in the Jaguar electric SUV. So it's already $175,000 car. And then you add $600,000 worth of LiDAR and cameras to it.
So
and
if I could get an AI robot and I have an AI car, I could be like, I need you to go rob the local bank and bring me all the money. But if you get caught on the way,
Right.
it's on you. You're both going to jail.
Right.
you're going to Guantanamo.
yes. That's right. That's right.
I mean, who knows where AI is going to go as
Yeah.
far as what it's going to offer.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
Did I see something? There's like AI shooting glasses or something of that nature. I know there
There's
is
the
shooting.
Ace, you're talking about Ace VR.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have a pair of those.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Is it?
Oh man.
How
It's-
does that work? I just saw these on something like maybe a month or two ago, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What?"
Yeah, so it's like an updated like third generation. I think what was the first one's called? The Oculus, I think is
Yeah.
what the first one.
Yeah.
So these are like the third generation. They're owned by Meta, and the app is called Ace VR. And you can get a gun. It usually looks like a 2011 or a 1911. They've got a couple. There are 2 or 3 people out there now that are 3D printing guns, so you can put the little controller in it,
Yeah.
and it has a trigger on it, and then you can go through, and then you put it on, and then you go into the Ace VR system, and you can go in and shoot like all kinds of different. Like they have daily matches, like and. A lot of USPSA and IDPA shooters get on there and they're shooting these matches. The cool part about it is like, dude, it's the only thing you're not getting is recoil out of the gun, but you're seeing like your dot lift and return. So you can work on your grip and your presentation,
Oh wow.
indexing the pistol, all kinds of stuff. And you can really build up and strengthen the eye muscles in your eye. So you can see much faster. Cause like I tell people in shooting classes, I'm like, listen, you can shoot as fast as you can see. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, as fast as I can look at something and the dot is going up and down, I'm a paintbrush and I can shoot really, really fast. They're like, really? And I'm like, right. So then once I build up the eye muscles to get there, just like working out and getting your arms or legs or whatever bigger and stronger, well, okay, I can get much better at this, right? And yeah, there's a ton of stuff on there that you can do with it. Like there's one section you can go in and set up your own stage, and like you can turn everything on in it. I mean, imagine the steel like what you want. Oh, okay. I want 2 Texas Stars that are moving. You know, you've got the dueling Texas Stars that, they've got. How many of those do you want in the stage? I want 65. Okay, there's 65. I mean, you can make this thing. It's crazy what you can do, and it's a very, very good system. For a few $100s, you can get very good at shooting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was actually, I do know there's actually a place out, was it Range USA or Range 18 or something like that locally that has something similar to that.
It's
you're talking, I don't know the name of the company.
That's not it. It's we have their poster hanging up, but yeah. They're virtual. They basically, you don't do goggles, but you're surrounded by the screens.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's the Virtua system.
So this one was Ranger eyewear with React AI, where lenses use AI-driven color science to make targets stand out from the background, intensifies key target colors to improve contrast for quicker target acquisition. The technology adapts to changing light conditions, maintaining consistent variety. These are glasses that you put on when you're fucking shooting.
Wow, dude, I've never seen these.
Sharpens focus speed, depth perception, helping your eyes look into fast-moving. It's for clay target shooting.
Oh, okay.
Enhanced depth perception. True depth technology gives a sharper, more dimensional view of targets.
Interesting. It's wild.
There's only going to be so much more. There's so much more technology that's down the road and going to be possible.
Yeah, I think. It's going to come down to really what the limiting factor is going to be what you can come up with in your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never even heard of these glasses, and they're probably like, "Oh, this is the 3rd generation." It came out 6 months ago. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
This is the Rogan and Elon Neuralink discussion of what's possible, and it's just a matter of connection speed at this point.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly because now you're changing the game. Imagine now you're on stops and you have to deal with people who are wearing these,
right,
and carrying whatever, and
right.
You're gonna pull out Chat GPT and ask it, how do I deal with this?
Right. Yeah. Well, and I know one a department a couple years ago was talking about how can we mount a drone on the back of a cruiser that after we do the traffic stop, the drone comes out and flies up to the driver's door, and you talk to them, and you put your driver's license in a clip, and it flies back to you. I'm like,
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't seen it in the field, but I've seen that concept.
Right. You're like, what? No,
yeah.
I have to go. And of course, again, old school guy going, no, I'm going to walk up to the car.
Yeah,
right.
And they're like, why would you do that? I can just send this drone. I'm like,
yeah, I wouldn't do that, but the recon. I mean, put one right at the windshield,
right,
aim
and
forward,
just looking in. Yeah,
that would be
amazing. See
amazing.
what's up? And I mean, there's companies out there now that the dispatcher can launch the drone, and it goes to if there's an issue at your house, the drone will come over your house and starts to fly around your house, and it's live feed to dispatch and the police officers.
Yeah, it's
because it's in their MDT. You're just
and this is the early stages of that technology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, look at what the Russians and the Ukrainians are doing,
fighting a whole war with fucking drones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now add in AI technology,
right,
to those drones and what they're doing.
Well, and then you add in let's ask ChatGPT, hey, if I was going to strike Russia, where's the most specific target that I should hit that maybe they're not aware of, and it's lowly guarded, and da-da-da-da.
Right,
it'll probably come up with fucking options for you. Or what's the best way to sneak attack Russia with drones? Oh, take a Connex, park fucking 600 drones in it, put it in the fucking middle of the woods, leave it sit there for 8 months, and then one day just unleash holy hell. And it's like,
have you actually searched this? It sounds like you've searched this.
Yeah, I feel like he searched it, right?
Quick rewind. Engage is the guys you're thinking of that are out on 18.
Yeah, nice.
We could have them on too, by the way.
Yeah,
they're super nice guys.
Yeah, they're really cool dudes. We went there when they first opened that place up.
Yeah.
Good time.
They've been into the bar several times. So we've had them out for a couple concerts and stuff. So nice guys.
Yeah, very cool.
You bring up training, and you brought up something earlier, and we talked about it a little bit with the guys because obviously Jared and Tim teach CCW.
Yeah.
And you talked about having an open range or a live range, and these guys being afraid to carry a bullet in the chamber.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to: are you prepared to open carry? Or are you prepared to carry a weapon? Period. On the streets in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where there is a need for more training for anybody, regardless of how much time that you've spent firing a weapon at the range.
Yeah.
It's different in real life. And you talked about this precision training and how that affects cops who are trained from the day that they want to be a cop and on how to fire a weapon.
Yeah.
And they're uncomfortable, and it puts them in scenarios they're not comfortable with. And you talk to these guys why do you carry a weapon every day if you don't have a round in the chamber?
Right.
by the time you chamber around and utilize that weapon, you've lost what? Untrained, most likely, because you're afraid to do it. So 10 seconds, 8 seconds more.
At least.
Right.
Yeah.
And at that point, what are you going to do, or what's been done to you already?
Right.
More importantly, the time it's taken you to chamber around, did that guy just disarm you, take your weapon, and use it against you?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you think that what could be, like, we talk about like driver's training for 16-year-old kids, right? Like, hey, before you get your driver's license. Do you think that there's some kind of training that should be had? I know it's a right, so it makes one of those things it's difficult, but like before buying that first firearm.
Yes. I think it would be good to put them through a familiarization class to where it's like, okay, we're going to put 6, 7 guns out here, even rifles, M4s, AKs, or whatever, and be like, okay, here's how they operate. This is what it does. This is how you load it. This is how you unload it. Obviously, this is the bad end. Don't point that at yourself ever. You know what I mean? Those type of things. I think that would be a really, really good idea for people. And then you just get them comfortable and they're like, oh, you know, like most of the time, the people that I have talked to about that don't carry around the chamber, it's because they're scared and they don't know. So I'm like, okay, well, let's have the conversation right now. We're right here on the range. Let's walk over here. Let's tell me what are you scared of? You know, and most of the time, like, well, is it going to go off in my pants? I'm like, no, as long as it's not that certain type of pistol that sounds like SIG 320. I won't say that, but it sounds a lot like that, right? But rhymes with. But yeah, and I'm like, no, man, like, you know, building safeties and all the thing, and they just don't know, and it's, you know, you don't know what you don't know. So if you know, it's just like the first time you drove a car, right? Like when you got your driver's license and you're out on your own, like you thought you knew a lot of shit. You didn't really know anything. Right. You know what I mean? And I tell that to, like, it's like police officers. I'm like, okay, first time, you know, you got out on your own, you weren't with your FTO anymore. And the first time you ran lights and sirens, what'd that look like? Then it was like, well, it was a shit show. And I'm like, of course it was. It was horrible. But now what's it look like? You know, me, 27-year veteran, like, dude, I could roll up the window, drive with my knees, smoke a cigarette, drink coffee, talk to my partner, be on the phone with my wife, talking, having all this stuff going on. And just feel like, yeah, okay, I'm pulling up right now, and get out of the car and go. And they're like, well, I'm like, it's because I did it so many different times. I'm like, it's just like driving a car now. Like, you guys are old enough that you can go, yeah, I could back it out of my driveway and drive down the street, and it's not a big deal. And that's just getting people comfortable with them. Mm-hmm. And I think if we truly did that, I think it'd be awesome. I think one of the biggest things that we should not have done as a state, as Ohio, is we should not have taken away, what was it, 12 hours of CCW training? Yeah.
Was it 12 or 8? 12?
I thought
it was a one-day class, I think. It might have been 12 hours.
I thought it was 12, and then it went to 8, and then it went to... I've never taught one of those classes, so I don't know. But here's why I say that, is that class, and a couple of my buddies taught that class, and I talked to them about it. I'm like, what's that class really about? And they're like, safety.
100%.
And I'm like, that's what we need. That's what these people need, because I think the stat is, 80 to 85% of the people in the state of Ohio that had CCWs never carried their gun. It was only about, well, I got this card.
Right.
I have a CCW card. Well, that's a cool freaking story, bro. But are you carrying your gun? Well, the answer is no, because they didn't have any training. Well, now they're getting no training on safety.
Right.
You know, an explanation and familiarization of how this thing works.
So a couple of things, like I talked about this, like military, I got zero pistol training at all. The only time that I had a pistol was when I was in Iraq, took one from a soldier. I fucking dabbled in it. We had some fun because I was like, oh, fucking laser-sighted Glock. This is awesome, right? Yeah. Got out, got my CCW, and you know what? It's cool. I have my CCW, went to the class. Do I really need to carry it every day?
Right.
Not really. Went and did that training down in Texas. Like really, really thought about it then.
Yeah.
And was like, you know what? I want to practice. I want to get better at shooting. So I did, but do I still need to carry it every day? Like maybe I should assess what I'm doing and if it's a necessity if I carry it. Right. For one, I have a weapon on me, limits where I can go, or even if it doesn't limit where I could go, maybe I don't want to have it in certain areas. God forbid I take it off and forget it.
Right. Yeah. In the
like just all these different things, right? Yeah. And
liability.
I think then when you go to, hey, you know what? Don't worry about any of that. Just carry if you want to.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, now you have no safety training.
Mm-hmm.
And safety training, while it's basic, it's like thought in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that training in Austin I went to, like everybody shoots the first day. They're just like firing at targets to get an idea where everybody's at.
Mm-hmm.
And like they go through the targets and like it's a silhouette on a big white square of paper.
Yeah. Right.
And like some people had like a couple of shots in the corners of the paper
Mhm.
off the silhouette. And like they said something like, okay, yeah, this is just a target, but you missed, which means your round just went to grandma behind them carrying a 2-year-old granddaughter
Mhm.
with groceries because you fucking missed.
Right.
And like just like hearing that made you think like, yeah, what scenario am I putting myself in by carrying this weapon where I do more damage than good?
Yeah.
And if you're not training consistently,
Right.
like if you're carrying a weapon every day, you should be at the range at least once a month, at
Right.
least keeping yourself familiar with the weapon, firing
100%.
it, being comfortable.
100%.
If you're not doing that, why are you carrying?
Right.
And if you're not prepared to end a life, this is my wife's big thing. Like she's like, why would I carry? I'm never going to shoot anybody.
Right.
She's right.
Right.
Nothing
She's-
wrong with that.
No, that's
Better. I'd rather her not carry and
absolutely.
you know, for that exact reason. So
Yeah.
I think that's where we're so afraid of guns.
Yeah.
I don't even see why there should be gun safety class in high school. It should be something.
And there
that's
used
just
to be.
like it should
I
just
mean-
be. Did it really?
Oh yeah, there used to be. I mean, it was very common. They didn't do this in the high school that they did originally in the high school that I graduated from, but they stopped it in like the mid 80s or whatever. But when I was in high school, again, I graduated early 90s from high school, like everybody had guns in their trucks or in their cars because we were all going hunting after school. Or because it got so bad, like they were like, the school felt liability.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh shit, man, you know what? Hey, listen. Okay. And I will never forget this. I think it was my sophomore year or my junior year. Again, high school. It was like 2 or 3 years ago or something, right? But, they made an announcement over the PA. They were like, okay, hey, we know all you guys have guns in their cars or in your trucks. We're going to stop. We do not want you to do that. So here's your option. You can A, not bring those to school or in your car, but B, bring them into the school and put them in your locker. If you're going, no, I shit you not. If you're going to do that, that has to be in a soft-sided case. Gun has to be unloaded, and everybody we did that. And guess what? Everybody did.
Carry their
That's
weapon
what-
to school.
They brought it. I'm telling you, it was so common. People were like, "Hey, what's up, Jimmy?" Blah blah. Hey, where you going? You going deer hunting or rabbit hunting? We're going squirrel hunting. Where are you guys going to go? Can I go with you? And it was that conversation. But also going back to the education piece, because we were all young kids, we were all high schoolers. We all went through a hunter safety program. So we knew like, oh, this is a shotgun. This is how to load it, how to unload it, how to make it safe, and how to carry it properly. We never had any incidents, like ever. We never had an incident of a gun accidentally going off in school. That didn't happen. Like,
Well, when I talked to Jared and them too, they're like, obviously it would be fucking highly protested by 50% of the people because everything is
right. Yeah.
protested by
Nobody can
50%.
agree 100%
Yeah.
on anything. Right.
Which I get. And yes, maybe it's bringing guns into some kid's life that he's never witnessed, never had guns before, never fired a gun before. And you're worried about what that's going to cause him to do. Like, oh, he's going to be triggered by cleaning this gun or learning how to take out a magazine. He's going to want to shoot a school up.
Right.
But I think we don't give people enough credit.
Yeah.
That with the proper training and education on really anything, that's how common sense is created. It's kind of like when we were all kids. I grew up in Mojave Desert, California, Hesperia. Like if you look up at the fucking murder rate, like it's fucking insane. I walked to school as a 4th grader.
Right.
My grandma and I used to walk to in Victorville. Victorville. We used to walk to the grocery store. It was like a
Victimville.
2-mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 2-mile round trip walk,
Yeah.
surrounded by vatos, pawn stores, and everything else.
Yeah. Never got screwed with.
Never got screwed with ever.
Right.
I would leave school in 4th grade and walk like 4 miles to my buddy's house, who also had to walk home.
Yeah.
Before I went to my house, and I'd be walking home in the dark at like 9 o'clock at
And
night.
nobody thought anything about it.
Nobody thought anything of it, As I got older, like 10, 11, 12, like my parents worked during the day.
Mhm.
Summertime, I would leave the house on my bike at like 7 a.m. and
Right.
we didn't know where we were going or how far,
Yep.
but we weren't coming back until the lights were like,
That's right. Yeah.
And nothing happened to any of the friends that I grew up
No.
with, none of the kids.
No.
And I think it's because you had to think.
Yeah.
When you're on your own, like,
Yeah.
hey, do I want to like jump off this fucking bridge? Or you know what? if I get hurt and I'm out here by myself, probably gonna die.
Yeah,
you know,
not gonna
so
make this.
maybe I shouldn't do
Yeah.
that. Now we are so afraid to like let people make their own decisions. You look at these kids today,
Right.
and they're so hovered.
Oh yeah. And they can't make decisions. I mean, think about this. Like when we were all in school, right? Like you and I getting in a fist fight in school was like, you maybe got a day of detention.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe you got sent home.
Yeah. Maybe you got sent home. Parents were definitely
Definitely
were
called. Yeah.
They were called.
Yeah.
You know, of course, my old man.
They both
you know,
worked though, so
Yes,
they couldn't.
yeah,
It's not like they
exactly.
came.
Yeah.
I'm not taking off work to go see
That's
your
right.
principal.
Yeah. Stop being a dickhead. You know what I mean? My dad always asked the question of, did you start it? No. Did you finish it? Yes. Okay. Or did you shake his hand afterwards? Yes. Okay. Now be friends and stop being an asshole.
Right.
Cool. Got it.
And tell me every fight you got into elementary, junior high that you didn't become friends
Best
with.
friends.
Absolutely.
Best fucking friends,
right?
dude.
Best
Like, it was
friends.
the
Yeah. Right. But now these kids today, like they can't, and I'm not advocating for saying, hey, let's
bring
back
back-
fist fight. Let's go. I'm not saying that, but I will tell you this, like it was in track. It was my junior year. Yeah. It was my junior year of track, high school track. We had two guys on the guys track team that absolutely hated each other, like legitimately hated each other. Coach shows up one day. He has two great big bags. They look like gym bags that you would use for like hockey equipment. In one bag, there's boxing gloves. In the other bag, there's headgear. And he's like, all right, boys track team, come over here. We're at like the high jump pit, right? We're all standing there and we're like, all right, what the fuck's going on? He's like, all right, you two retards, come here. And they walk over. They're like, okay, what? And he's like, unzip those bags. And one dude who was a little short wrestler guy, a little cock diesel dude, he opens it up. He goes, oh, we're about to do this. And the other guy's like, what's going on? And the coach just looks at him and goes, you two are putting boxing gloves on and you're going to put headgear on and we're going to let you duke it out. Until somebody either quits or just drops to the ground. And we're like, he is serious right now. And he's like, yeah, I'm tired of these two idiots. He goes, or the other option is you're both kicked off the team. What do you want to do? And they were like, and of course, the one guy, the little short cock diesel guy, was like,
Fuck yeah.
he's like America, right? He's like, he puts it on. He's like, and he was a wrestler, so he loved to him. This was like, this is any day that ended, and why?
Right.
Like, do I have to cut weight for this? No, let's go. You know what I mean? And the other guy was like, I don't want to do this, and the coach goes, well, then you're going to all be off the team. He's like, what about if I call my mom? And he goes, oh, definitely call your parents and have them come to the track right now. Like, we'll walk down here. I'll get them on the phone. We'll call them right now and we'll wait till they get here. And then I'll explain to them how you two have been acting and how you've disrupted the entire track team practices, let alone go on to meets and stuff. Is that what you want to do? And he's like, no, I'll put these gloves on. Those dudes threw down. It was like the 3 minutes of like just
haymakers
and like blades of death. You know what I mean? And then the one guy got beat up by the shorter wrestler dude, and the coach was like, "Are you guys done?" Yep. Shake hands. Best friends from that day forward.
I'm sure.
Like they were, and I was
They're
like,
still telling that story today.
"Oh yeah, well."
Like if
And
they
so
don't
am
know
I.
each
This
other,
is-
yeah, right.
Right. 33 years later,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's
And-
somewhere right now. He's like, back in my day,
Right.
our
We
coach
used to
brought us
fight.
gloves and we kicked
Right.
each other's ass on
Yeah,
the
that's
track.
right.
You know,
and it was
what I mean?
crazy. You know what I mean? But you look at it now and like, could you imagine that happening?
No.
Like if
Well,
if you
first
have
of all,
kids
that
and-
teacher's going to jail.
right, he's 100% going to jail. You know what I mean? But can you imagine like if you have kids and your sons or your daughters came home today and they're like, hey, the boys track team or football team, they put gloves on and headgear on, and like that, they were out there throwing down.
Showed
Now,
me on
of course,
Channel 3 News.
right, I would be like, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
let's do more of this. You know what I mean?
No, today it's like, oh, you should see what I did to him on Facebook.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I unfriended him.
Yes. Yeah.
And I blocked his sister.
Right. I was going to say, I blocked him. I blocked his whole family, including the dog. You're like, okay, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, and that's another crazy thing too. Like once again, like there's a difference in like protecting your kids and then telling them how the real world is.
Yes.
Right. Like
Yeah.
today's day and age, as a high schooler, I couldn't imagine what it would be like. You know, my daughter's one friend, I remember she was like, they were having a sleepover or whatever, and we were going to get food or something, and they're talking about how like her boyfriend broke up with her because a girl from another school Snapchatted him and said that she was cheating with this dude from another school. And I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know who went to the other school. Like,
Right.
But with social media,
Yeah. Yes.
you can literally have like every kid from the Medina County 10 school districts
Right.
on your fucking Snapchat, and you
Right.
all fucking, you can
Yeah.
say whatever you want.
Yeah. Like, I didn't even understand what you just said with all that. Like, who started? You know what I mean? Like, who's,
Right.
Let's back up 5 minutes. Whose boyfriend?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Your friend's boyfriend.
This
Okay.
is that scene out of Ferris Bueller.
Right. But
My
it's-
best
it's-
friend's sister's cousin.
That's exactly what it is. You're
It's
just
like these kids with social media, they have access to so much, but they don't realize that, and they want to be popular. So they,
Yes.
they want to make everybody so they could see their shit. And then they fucking wonder why somebody talks shit about them or whatever the case. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's something that I didn't have to deal with.
Right. No.
But if I did, I could picture my dad being like, well, that's fucking life. Toughen up.
Right. Yeah.
You
Stop
know
being
what
a
I
baby.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that the kids can't handle that talk today.
Right.
It's that they haven't been allowed to handle that talk.
Yes.
And then the first time that they're hit with that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like that kickback or that,
Blowback.
yeah, there's a fucking simple word for this. I don't know why I can't think of it, but starts with, I don't know. Anyhow,
Sounds like
Yeah.
sounds
first
like,
syllable.
Right,
God, it is like right there on the fucking tip of my tongue. Like, damn.
Yeah.
But they come up with that first obstacle or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it, and they don't know how to handle it.
Mm-mm.
And because there's, just like we talk about training in firearms, we talk about training in wrestling or all these different things, there's no training in dealing with life because your parents kind of try to like protect you from all of that today.
Yeah.
Or they try to tell
Yeah.
you like, oh, it's okay that you're, in the, what? I know you're in the back or I know you're not starting, but you are the best player on the team.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
coddling.
Yes. The
Yeah.
coddling.
And because of that, when they hit adversity, I knew it
There
would
we
come to
go.
me.
Nice.
When I get hit with that adversity, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And what happens is like one of two things. Either they fold completely, and that's where the kid's talking about how to write a suicide letter on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Or it's how do I fucking
Blow the
show
school
my
up and-
friends all what's up by fucking
Right.
taking a gun to school and get
Yes.
away with it. And it's like they are not. It's extremist because they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how
No.
to deal with adversity. They don't know how to come over. I
Right.
use that word twice now. They
Yeah.
don't know how to overcome these issues. And
Repetition
I
is
think
key. by the
Yes.
way.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
I think that's a parent's problem, and I think that
Yeah.
handles. It's a teacher's problem. It's
Yeah.
our
it's
people.
everybody. I think it's everybody.
A society problem.
Yes, because
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't grow up with these. We didn't have phones.
No.
I mean,
No.
it was like, hey, I heard Will was talking smack about you. Cool. Hey, Will. What? Hey, dude.
Yeah.
He just told me you're talking smack. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's how you. But they like it's chat,
Yeah.
Snapchat, and blah blah. You're like, what are we doing here?
Isn't it wild that so we can be the adults in the room here, self-proclaimed, of course,
Right.
but
Yes, of course.
it's
Yes. Very
wild that
loosely
like
used. Yeah.
like we're all from the just rub some dirt on it generation
Right.
of like same thing. Like coaches would like if a fight needs to happen, then let it happen.
Yeah,
or your
let's go.
parents,
Dude,
like,
they always
you know,
let the first punch get thrown at least. Maybe
Yeah,
you
right.
had a chance to defend yourself, and then it was like break it up.
Right.
You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like
yeah.
there's
yeah, and today like you think about all the things that you can't say and you can't do because the kids can't handle it, but at the same time, like they have the highest connection rate of all sorts of violence and abusive things, and
Yes.
like, and then all the things that they do to each other. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild that nobody is stopping to say, well, maybe saying these things to them is not as bad as like the things that they're saying to each other, or
Right.
the thing that the technology is propagating to them. Like that
Right.
impact. I mean, we grew up okay ish.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
right,
we were
like-
fine.
I mean, I didn't end up being a gangster like Menace to Society.
Right.
So
You
something.
thought hard about
I
it. though,
did.
from
I
my
wanted that.
understanding.
I was all about that gangster life.
I've seen your playlist on your Spotify. I
Right.
think you're pretty close.
Yes. Yeah.
But that goes back to we joked about did gangster rap play a fact in like shootings and things like that, because that's what they talked about. Fuck the police, the whole
Right.
movement in the 80s,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Did that create the next generation, and then did that generation then create the next generation, and so forth and so on? And I could buy a game where I can go drive around in a car,
Right.
shoot up fucking buildings and businesses and anything that I
and get
want.
hookers and
Get
buy
hookers
drugs
and I
yeah.
get prestige status or
Yes,
whatever, and I'm
yes.
worth more money. So creating that game, like it's like we wanted to feed that inner fucking asshole that we all have. Like one day I'm just gonna fucking get in a car and shoot everybody. Like
Right.
And get all
let's
hookers.
create a game where
Yeah.
you do that for a fucking
right for hours.
and it's we give them that information. Like that game is out there for a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old to play. So guess what? When the school fucking tells him to fuck off and his dad doesn't, his friend talk shit about him and his dad doesn't tell him to like get tough and deal with it and tell him that it's just part of life and how to overcome that, guess what? That kid might do something drastic because that information's out there on how to do it and he's not prepared. So it is better to have those conversations.
It is. And I think that's the big thing, and which relates right back to firearms training, right? Like having the conversation and the safety aspects of that. And I think talking to your kids, I mean, you know, I have a daughter, she's in her early 20s, and, you know, I tell her, I'm like, get off the phone. That's not reality. Like put that thing down, come out, hang out with your mom and I, let's, you know, talk and hang out and cook burgers and, you know, go do whatever. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's all around there. It's about the education piece. And I think we definitely need more of that for people.
Well, and that phone thing does another thing too. My wife and I talk about, and I'm just as bad as anybody else. I could sit there and watch Yeti fucking videos for an hour at the gym.
Actually, you're worse, but go on.
Yeah. But as a woman walking down the street, if you're on your phone, like you're not
situational awareness.
Yeah, you're not aware of what's going on around you. Like some of the stories when you hear shit that happens, you're like, how the fuck did that happen? And like, I always think to myself, like, guarantee they were looking down at their phone or something, you know, we're so distracted as a society.
Or response to a traffic accidents amongst the first couple of questions. It's like, when was the last time you touched your phone? What were you doing at the time? What time was it?
Right.
Like, okay, show me your outbound calls, like for when you called 911, and then check that time against the last text message. And that same exact reason there, like in a car, out on the street, like situational awareness just goes down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now all those insurance companies have their snapshot and have everything else. Like they track your phone use. Like if you're in a car and moving and it's working, like that's going to hit your insurance company now.
Right.
So it's
wild.
It is wild. But, so I know we've been going for a little bit, but you're doing vehicle training right now for some, and you're teaching the instructors. So you're teaching the instructors that are going back to their department.
Yes.
What are some of the assets of vehicle? Like what's changed in vehicle defense or approach over the last 10, 15, 20 years since you've been doing it? Like,
man, there's I think the main thing is that, again, it goes right back to what we talked about earlier, firearms training. You have these old school guys that are, and I won't get too much into tactics. I don't like to do that much, but they're still trying to use some of these old ideas. And when you look at it and you go, that doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, okay, well then let's back up and then let's talk about, okay, what does make sense in that approach on this traffic stop, or, did you see what was happening with inside the car? What were the threat indicators? Okay. And I think more of that is coming out and guys are seeing it and paying attention to it. But also the other thing is it turns to, it's like, well, how many traffic stops you do in a day? You know what I mean? Like if you're a trooper, right? Or wherever, if that's your main job is traffic stops, like guess what they do? Let's get them out. Rip them tickets, rip them tickets. And they stop paying attention. Yeah. They get very complacent. It's super easy, and they also get to that point of like, well, it's never going to happen to me because I'm the nice officer. I've never had a complaint filed against me. I'm like, okay, but how are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, so
I'd imagine too, because I always talk, don't stereotype people, don't judge people, but you don't see beaters on the road anymore. You ever notice that? Like it's all nicer cars.
So I depends on where you're at.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, around here where high school students drive brand new Jeep Wranglers, you don't see a lot of beaters.
Right.
Not a lot of first cars, $300 cars or whatever. But I imagine like as an officer, like you're pulling up behind, a blue BMW or a new 2017 Silverado. Like you're not thinking too much of like, oh, this guy's gonna be a real asshole when I pull, or he's gonna fucking pull a weapon. Like that's probably a lot harder nowadays than it was before to kind of prepare yourself for these stops, unless you're looking at every single one as a possibility.
I mean, I got to be honest with you. Like I've pulled over people in $300 beaters, and I've pulled over people that are in very nice Mercedes, whatever type of cars, and I've had them to be super nice, and I've had people give a lot of attitude. You know what I mean? And you're like, man, I was just going to pull you over and tell you that your validation is, it's expired. Just get that fixed tomorrow and we'll move on. You know what I mean? So, to me, every traffic stop I ever did was always different because I don't know those people in the car.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't even know if the people on the plate are actually the people in the
Right.
car.
Yeah. Does that plate belong to that car? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Did they just steal it? Did they, and you could always go to the extremes and what if it, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
And I don't like to go down that road too much because it's like, okay. What if crickets had 45s? Birds wouldn't fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're kind of like that. No, I see what you're saying there. But, yeah, I don't get into the whole thing of like, well, if it's this car or that's car, because I've ran the gamut with people. Like, okay, this is what's happening or whatever. So, I always treated everybody, like when I went to the car, I was always looking at hands, paying attention to what their hands were doing, but I was always trying to be super nice, and I never said, I don't want to say never. The last 10, 15 years, so halfway through my career, I started, just introducing myself with my first name. I didn't say, hi, I'm Officer Mowery and blah, blah, blah. And, be all robotic with people because people don't like that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, I want you to treat me like a human being because I'm a police officer and I am a human being, but I'm coming across to you like citizen, police, you know what I mean? Like dumb shit like that. So I was always just like, hey man, my name's Dustin. I work for this police department. Hey, here's the reason I stopped you. And they're like, oh, okay.
Get some rapport built real quick. And
yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, hey, just driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. We'll get through this pretty quick.
Simple.
We'll see how things go. You know what I mean? You're cool with me. I'm going to be super cool with you. I'm not going to, we're not going to make this crazy. Nothing, And I even had a kid one time. There was this is in 21. It was in 21 or 22. No, it was 21 because I was still on night shift.
Did you have a mask on?
No, I did not because I was in a car by myself. Yeah, thank God. And I was a grown ass adult. But no, I pulled this kid over and, I walked up to the car and started talking to him the same exact way that I explained it to you. And he's on the phone with his mother, like legitimately on the phone with his mom. And I see what appears to be a little snub-nosed .38 pistol. And I mean, I don't know if that's real or not. It looked real to me. So I get my gun out, I start giving commands pretty aggressively, call for backup. I'm like, don't move, just sit right there. His mom's screaming on the phone, oh my God, don't shoot my son, don't shoot my son. I'm like, just hang up with your mom. Like, just tell her we'll call her back. We're going to call her back in a few minutes as soon as we get this figured out. Long story short, we get him out of the car and, obviously he's shaking because he now has guns pointed at him and we're doing our thing, whatever. And we get him out of the vehicle, start talking to him after we get him handcuffed up. And he's like, sir, it's a lighter. And I'm like, it's 3:00 in the morning. I have my flashlight on. I'm like, bro, this is not a lighter. He's like, sir, I'm telling you, that is a lighter. I'm like, okay. So I grab it. And then once I pick it up, I'm like, okay, it has some metal to it. Not a ton, but you know what I mean? You're like, this is not a gun. And I'm like, how's this thing work? Like, I'm like trying to open it up to see if it's a real gun or not. Sure shit, boys, it was a lighter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So after, he's stopped shaking because he's thinking, he was potentially could have gotten shot or whatever. I'm like, how about we get your mom on the phone? And his mom gets on the phone and she's like, she's talking to him or whatever. And are you okay? You're okay, Jamie, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ma'am, he's right here. Yes, go ahead and talk to him. And she's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm the officer that was, that was talking to him earlier when you were on the phone. And she was like, oh my God, thank you so much for, not going sideways. I go, listen, I'm going to be very honest with you. You should be praising your son as well because he did the right thing, which was he listened to what we said. And he told us it was a lighter. And guess what? It's a lighter.
Yeah.
I said, but I didn't know that because from the angle that I was standing and what I saw, it looked like a real gun. And she's like, I told you to throw that away, boy. But obviously she very intense, situation
moment.
Or whatever.
Could have went 100 times different.
Oh,
he could have been like, no, I told you it's a
right,
just like that.
And more than likely 99.9% of the time it would have been completely justified.
Right.
And then, but then I would have been on the receiving end of having to shoot this person,
right.
Living or dying, what happens. I would have had to live with the fact knowing at the end of the day
it was a fucking lighter.
It was a fucking lighter.
Yeah.
And we had that conversation. I'm like, dude, like, look where you're at. Like, look what's going on today.
Yeah.
All of these different things going on. I'm like, it's 3:00 in the morning. I said, can you see? And I put it back in where it was. I'm like, come over here. And I showed him from where I was standing. I go, here's my flashlight. Put that on there. What's that look like? He goes, sir, it looks like a fucking gun. I'm like, he goes, He goes, I thought you were going to shoot me. And I'm like, what do you think by right here? He goes, I'm going to be honest with you. I probably would have shot you if the role was reversed.
Right.
And I'm like, we talked to his mom, and, he was 21-year-old kid, you know what I mean? Or guy, whatever. But
venture to say, I bet he got rid of that fucking lighter.
Oh,
or at least hit it a lot better.
We threw it away for him.
Yeah.
Because his mom's like, officer, can you throw that away? I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, we're going to take that for you. So
I think I missed a little bit of the question and answer part of that, but I guess consistency is like paramount in today's world. Like, to your point, like, sure, you can prejudge a vehicle out on the road and think like, oh yeah, that person's bad, but the person could have just carjacked a $200,000 car and it just hasn't come back yet, and they could still have the pistol, and you could pull up thinking, well, it's a Mercedes, it's nice, this is not going to be any ordeal. You could also pull over a billionaire driving a 1996 Acura Integra that just it's his favorite car, that and you can
like Warren Buffett,
and you could prejudge that person, and then now you have big time problems on your hand, right? Yeah. So it can go either way on you from a liability perspective too.
Right.
I think that's a tough part about being a cop today's day and age as well. Everybody's got a camera phone.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yep. I just got into riding sport bikes again, and the bike community on social media, like, they're always posting videos, and it's usually because they're hiding their plates.
Right.
They're getting pulled over for it, then they're getting upset that they're getting pulled over for it, or they just take off.
Right.
And then cop fucking has two bikes running on them doing $150.
Right.
And they just grab the next two cop bikes that they see and be like, was that you guys? Like,
right.
They're trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
That community is always recording, always videoing everything that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool to run from the cops on TikTok and all that shit.
Makes you look cool. Yeah.
I mean, that just adds to, once again, like, you as a cop, you have to train for that as well.
You do.
What do you do when you approach a car and the girlfriend's in the car saying, I'm recording everything that you're doing, just so you know, I got this video. You pulled him over for no reason. Like, and now all of a sudden a routine traffic stop gets hostile because you're just like, fuck, like, you got to be trained for that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the way I did that, I was always like, oh, you're recording? Oh, this is awesome. So am I. I'm like, I got mine on. I'm like, hey, man. And I would, I made it kind of a joke. I'd be like, air high five. Like, this is awesome. We're recording each other. And once this is my opinion only, I'm just, give you my 0.02 cents. But as soon as I made it not a thing, is I guess the way to describe that is like, I never made it a thing. I was just like, oh, cool. You're recording. I'm recording. We're all recording. This is awesome. Like, we're going to have every angle of this. If something goes sideways,
we just need a producer,
right? Yeah, I just hey, let's go, and then they would be like, "Oh, I'm not getting the reaction. Like, I'm not getting. He's not, telling me, oh, we turn that off." And but it, like, and it was. We used to deal with a lot of the First Amendment people as well.
The
you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean, and
what'd you call them?
First Amendment auditors.
Yeah, the First Amendment auditors. Yeah, those guys. We used to deal with a lot of them, and then the guys that were like, "I'm not driving, I'm traveling." You know what I mean? We
sovereign citizens.
Sovereign citizens. We dealt with a lot of them, and it was just like, hey, listen, man. The First Amendment people, I looked at them as that was their job.
What was the First Amendment people? What is that?
So the short version is they basically, they're trying to get views. They'll show up with a GoPro and they'll go meandering onto. We had a pretty good one here in Medina, I think about 2 years ago, where he was just meandering around like in the bay. So when they detain somebody and they've got somebody coming in, they have a bay back there. It's like in between, like it's the parking lot where you see the vehicles, and then anytime you see one right up to the edge of the door, it's usually somebody that's going inside.
Oh, you're talking about when they're getting arrested or whatever.
When they're going in the jail.
Right. So guys will just be walking around back there and like, oh, this is public property. I pay my taxes, and then just wait to be contacted by one of the officers, and then sit there and then try and just antagonize it. And so, on one side of it, they're right that they're in public property and they have access, but then you have an officer safety issue as well. Like you've got somebody that's going in, and then you got another guy with a camera. It's like, is that really all is he doing, or is he preparing to ambush me and that sort of thing? So that's those guys.
Or they'll come into your police department in the lobby and they're videoing everything, and we were just like, Hey man, can we help you today? No, I'm videoing. Are you stopping me? No, I was just saying hello. I just wanted to make sure that you didn't need any help or you did need an officer's. I don't need your assistance. Oh, cool, man. Rock out. Have a great day. And I would just walk away.
Right.
Like, there's no point in engaging with those people because they're trying to goat you because they want to file lawsuits.
Right.
And we had that with one guy. He was on the main drag and he was, walking up and down the street and he had an M4 on his shoulder. And, people were freaking out. They're like, oh my God. And I'm like, this is right on the radar. I'm like, nobody needs to freak out. Like, I don't need to go and approach the guy. I'm like, it's the state of Ohio says you can open carry. Cool. Okay. Is he staying on the sidewalk? Yes, he is. Okay. Just let's watch him from a distance. Okay. Right. And then, guys will be like, oh, let's go up and talk to him. What for? Right. There's no reason to go talk to that dude. Just leave him alone. Yeah. Let him do his thing. He's trying to get you to come over there because then he's going to ask you, are you detaining me? As soon as you say yes, you're already in the trap. Like you're not going to get out of that web.
Right.
Like you're in it. Now they're going to own you. And now they're just going to start, they've already chummed the water.
Right.
They hooked you. And now they're just going to start reeling in. Don't even get into that. Don't even drive by them and say, hey, sir, don't do any of that. I'm like, just stay away from them. They'll get bored and they'll walk away.
Right.
And they did, but yeah, I always looked at it as like, hey, just let's talk to people, as long as it's not, an elevated situation and, it's all crazy and I have to come in hardcore and tell people to shut up and sit down, walk in and be like, I'm talking to my 85-year-old grandmother. Hey, Grammy, what's going on? You know what I mean? What's going on today? And everybody's like, yeah, okay,
Here's this. I was going to ask this earlier, like when you were talking about, like, so you're currently teaching high risk engagements.
Yeah, high risk
engagements. How do you train guys to come back down? So they're in a high risk situation.
Yeah,
and then nobody's detained. Everybody's still in the car, but situation changes.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you train to have people come back down in that situation?
Yeah, when they're all cranked up, right? So there's a couple ways that I kind of talk through people about that. Is I'm like, first off, calm breeds calm. If I'm calm on the radio, I'm the one that should be talking. If you're that dude, and I say this in every class, and I'll say it sometime this week, because we talk about radio traffic and how to handle all that. And I'm like, there's somebody in your department that is bogarting the mic and constantly talking and they're just blah, 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 and they're up here and and they're doing that, like, get them off the radio and don't let them talk to anybody. I'm like, if you don't know who that is in your department, it's fucking you, bro. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody's looking around in your department, you're like, I don't know who that is. Hey, dude, they're all looking at you because that's who it is, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so don't put him on the radio. And I go, you all know who that guy is, right? And I'm like, there should be one guy talking in this whole situation. Okay, that's the dude that's the calmest one. He gets on the PA system. He's like, suspect driver, step out of the car, do this, this, and this. And he's giving the commands. And I'm like, but if you're not there yet and everybody is jacked up, I'm like, okay, what's the point of rushing to get him out of the car? If I take 2 more minutes of him just sitting there, what's the harm in that? There really isn't any. I'm like, but in those 2 minutes, what can you be doing? I'm like,
breathing.
Take a couple deep breaths. Like, I'm talking big, like shoulders up. Okay. All right. Okay. And then also talk to your partner and be like, hey man, what do you think we should do with this guy? Because most of the time, not everybody's going to be screaming and really wound up. There's going to be a couple of dudes that are like, bro, you are losing your mind right now. Stop doing that. Like, I don't think you should do this. Let me do this. I'll talk to this dude. You know what I mean? I mean, you do that all the time as a cop. You know what I mean? And so it's the same situation. I'm like, and that's what I tell guys. I'm like, listen, it's stuff that you do if you're out doing a field interview with a guy, right? Or you show up at a DV, the officer that shows up and he's like, God damn it, I've been here 55 times with Johnny. I'm about to beat the brakes off of him. Yeah. That's not the dude that should be talking to Johnny.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's not do that because he's going to get in use of force and it's going to look bad, right? Same thing if we're out dealing with people that we're in the car or doing whatever. Like, okay, do not have him talk or take a couple deep breaths. Let's relax. Let's wait a few minutes. Why? Again, the car, the people in the car and all that, they're the rabbit. And that's where we get in trouble in law enforcement, right? Is like, we see rabbit, we chase rabbit. Stop. Why are we doing that? Because you're literally running into situations a lot of times that you're like, I don't know where we're going. And I get there and I have no plan. Like, how many times have you seen that, right? The officers run up there and then they're just like, Okay. And they just go to Mongo smash mode. You're like, if we would have taken 5 minutes not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes to have a conversation about this, we'd have been way down here and have been like, okay, oh, all right. Well, let's call him out of the car.
You're also giving the other guy 2 minutes. Let's
Right.
say he was going to just fucking open up fire. Maybe
Right.
now that 2 minutes is like, this is not a good idea.
That's right. Yeah. This is not going the way.
Right? Like, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah,
just
right.
stop. Like,
Right.
And that's usually it's that 2 minutes that makes a difference in every single scenario that
100%.
you can get where you feel like
Yeah.
there's an uprising in the temperature. You just take that 2 minutes, like you can make it so much better.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, now there is a time and place, right? Like we all know this of like, there's that 1% of the population that are going to go, no, we're going to throw. Like guns are coming out, hands are going, whatever, and they're going to fight you. Okay. Well, we have to be prepared for those people. Thank God it's only 1% of the population.
Right.
You know what I mean? But be prepared for them. But most of the time it's like, hey, just take a breather. Like, let's not run up to the car. Let's have a conversation about how are we going to approach this?
Do you think there is a different? I mean, obviously, there's more people year after year, right? Or population grows, but that 1%. Do you think there's more of those people that are just I don't give a fuck mode?
Oh yeah, I think that's getting a lot more.
Yeah, it's
It seems like, or it's coming across, the news media is selling it on both sides.
Yeah.
It's they're all left or they're all right. It's nobody can. And we talked about it. Nobody can really get in the middle anymore. Everybody's got to argue really hardcore on this way or the other, and you're like,
You got to be
Dude.
part of a tribe.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Like,
and then I feel like there's just like no concern for consequences at all.
no.
You know what I mean?
Well, because
like,
yeah, but that also goes back to like, let's be honest, there isn't really any consequences because listen, most of the cops that are out there today, and I'll just use the agency that I retired from last year, is like 99% of us that were there, like we were there and we wanted to be cops and like we wanted to go do cop shit. You know what I mean? But when your admin, I'm not saying our admin, but like admin, or more than likely you had the prosecutor's offices and the juvenile prosecutor's offices that were like, we're not looking at that anymore.
That's a social worker problem.
Yes,
This is not
right. And that's when the real problem starts, because you're like, there's no more consequences for these people, and they know it,
right.
and you're just like, well, and it goes right back to what you said, probably an hour ago now, right? Like, how did we get there? Before there was consequences,
Right.
Everybody knew. I mean, when I started in the 90s, man, especially my first department, like especially when I was on second shift, because we had some guerrillas on the second shift, right? And there were 4 or 5 of us that would like, okay, the lieutenant would cut us loose and be like, okay, you guys go handle the DVs and all the fights and all the craziness, and I'll handle all the other stuff over here, And then they knew. They're like, second shift is here. Hey, knock that off. Knock that shit off. These second shift dudes are not going to mess with you. And they would, the other people that also caused problems, that were drunks and drug addicts and everything, they were like, hey dude, don't do that. This is the wrong shift. Like, don't do that. Because there was consequences, because people went to jail. You know what I mean? And now it's just like, slap on the wrist. So what do you expect? I mean, it's like kids, right? It's like if you guys have kids, like your daughter you were talking about. At a young age, I'm sure you told her no several times.
Yeah, of course.
And then you told her after a certain point, then there was consequences to that.
Right.
Butt smacked, hand smacked, whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But today, I mean.
Yeah, I think the lack of consequences, and it's not even like, it's not only is it the lack of consequences for the offender, right? It's the abundance of consequences for the person who's trying to do the right thing, or who's in the position of accountability or policing or whatever it is, teacher, whatever. There's so much more consequences for them that now, you probably see it in these trainings. Like, dude, I'm never pulling my fucking gun because I know I'm going to jail.
Oh, I've heard that. I worked with officers and have been at other trainings where officers were like, I am never ever doing that because I'm going to get in trouble. And I've seen it myself. Like, okay.
It sucks because it's definitely a thing. Like, there's people that are out there specifically to get the cop in trouble who's
110%.
Who shot the person who pulled guns on them.
They're called lawyers.
You're right.
But they're like, there's
yeah.
people that are specifically good at fucking finding the ways to get back at the cops. But the lawyers are fucking insane in that aspect. What was the one that just happened where that kid stabbed the other kid and killed
down
him?
in Texas at the track meet.
Was that
Is that
where
the
it
one
was?
you're talking
I
about?
think so.
Yeah.
The kid stabbed the other
Yes.
kid, and then
Yes.
they're trying to get him out of jail.
They did
Yeah.
get him out of jail, and then they got a GoFundMe for that kid.
Like-
He's related to, I thought he was someone's nephew, or
You're
he's
right.
a ball
No.
player's nephew
Yes.
or something.
was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. There's something about that kid, but yeah, they were at a track meet
Yeah.
and they tried to turn it into this whole thing. You're like,
Yeah.
he's like everybody. So many people saw this kid stabbing the other dude, like,
Yeah.
and they're trying to justify it. It's like, this isn't a justifiable use of force.
You're looking it up there, but yeah.
Yeah, it was actually Carmelo Anthony was indicted for the first-degree murder and the fatal stabbing. So he just got, it was from April 2nd. Well, it was just as he was indicted.
Yeah.
The bond initially was $1 million, then reduced to $250,000.
Right.
I mean, then he
and
was
they bonded
released-
him out.
Yes,
yeah,
they
he was
did.
released
Yeah.
from jail on a bond. The case
Yeah.
is ongoing, facing a fair and impartial legal process.
Right.
That's literally what AI tells me at the end.
Right. Right. You're just like,
But yeah,
okay.
there's all these people like, oh, you got to get like, this dude stabbed and killed another 17-year-old kid.
Right.
A kid's life ended at 17
Yes.
because of this kid, and
Right.
somehow we're sticking up for him.
Right.
Well,
Right.
here's it, a really old one. And this, I'm from LA initially,
Yeah,
and
I'm
so
sorry.
I moved.
Right. Good call.
Yeah, the Menendez brothers.
Oh, right.
Fucking massive case. I mean,
Right.
this was
They're still trying to get him out of prison.
well. This is
Isn't
now
there a
like
Netflix documentary that just hit recently on
Oh
that?
yeah. Last year, right?
Yeah.
so 30 years. So rewinding back, like this was pre OJ. Like this was
Oh, yeah.
what dominated the newsreels back then. I was a senior in high school when that happened. I'm the same age as the older brother, whichever one it was. But
Yeah.
this was like, wait, these motherfuckers grew up in Beverly Hills. Their
Right.
parents are multimillionaires.
Yes.
Like, the one kid drove a Porsche and one has a BMW. Yeah, there's a sad story. Dad put his whatever in his
Right.
whatever, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Like, that's
Yeah.
terrible. But none of that came out. That's now coming out
Yes.
now. But
Yeah.
back then, it was like, okay, so these two guys went into their parents' bedrooms with shotguns and killed them both. And, like,
Right.
it was this whole thing. Like, what? Kids from Beverly Hills, like, why the fuck would they do that? They have everything they ever wanted and
Right.
more and all that stuff, right? So obviously convicted, sent to prison. Here we are, 30 some odd, almost 40 years later, and they're making the argument that, it's an injustice that they've been sentenced. I
Right.
think it's an injustice that they weren't just,
Executed.
executed on the spot, like upon conviction, really.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, if
personal
look,
opinion.
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I mean, look at the what was it? The one of the women that was attacked, and murdered down, I think, North Carolina or something like that. I think the blonde. I can't remember her name. She was a blonde. I think she was out running or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The immigrant
Yes,
guys.
yes.
Are you talking about recently?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
Oh, this is last year.
Yeah, this is last year. So then you had that suspect. Like, they have him on video getting rid of all of his clothes. Like, DNA was on her. Like it was a slam dunk case. And you had people that were like, "What's an injustice? Like, you want to send him to prison and then you want to deport him." You're like, I'm confused here. He murdered, cold-blooded, murdered.
Kid, wasn't it young?
No. She was like 35 years old. She had
was
like
she?
she had
maybe
like 5 kids.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. I was thinking about the college student.
Yeah,
Like,
the
Oh,
college
that
student
was
the other
one.
one.
Yes, that was the other one. Yeah, but again, you're just, legal or illegal or whatever. Even if he's an American citizen, like the one the other day from the Ukrainian girl that was murdered. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And even with that guy that killed the Ukrainian girl, like, GoFundMe actually stopped 5 GoFundMe different accounts that was trying to get money for his defense. I'm like, what are we doing?
This
Like,
is
what?
insane, man.
Like, it's on video.
Yeah.
He murdered this woman with a knife, cut her neck.
Yeah, like,
like,
what
and
on
she-
earth could make you think that this guy deserves anything other than
Right.
a death penalty?
Right.
He ended a fucking life
Right.
for no reason.
Yeah. And then people turn it around and go, well, but when it's their family involved, they're like, that dude needs to be buried under the,
Right.
the Mansfield prison. You're
Right.
like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, you were talking about this dude who brutally attacked and murdered a person, and you were okay with that. But now it's your family member. Okay. It's not the way things work.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it's like, you look at our entire system, Constitution, everything from, that all the way down to infractions that, like, our system is what it is. Here we are, like, and we have all these liberties and everything, but there are certain things I think that are pretty cut and dried, and it becomes a little frustrating because they don't have these problems in China.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, to that point,
I mean, the government runs everything in China.
Right.
Though. I mean, you don't want to give up your land.
Yeah. But also, I mean
that's part of being a free country is like people can fucking do whatever. I mean, you
Yeah.
can defend a guy for what you know he obviously did. There could be witnesses, and you can still find a technicality to get him off.
Yeah.
There's more
because a cop didn't fill out his police ticket right, or his,
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
There's more millionaires and billionaires in China than there are here by a lot.
Right. But then you look at it and, you know, some of these people don't have a perspective of like, you know, you were talking earlier about going to Athens, Greece. Like there's a lot of bad shit that happens in Athens, Greece. Like, I mean, you witness some stuff, you know what I mean? Going down and it's like, and when you talk to people, you know, my family and I, we went to Italy earlier this year and spent a couple weeks and had a great time in Rome. It was fantastic, you know, and our daughter is, you know, like I said, she's a little bit early 20s or whatever. And she was like, hey dad, like, this is different. And I go, you are no longer in America. Like,
yeah, but you know what?
different,
In Italy,
you know?
especially Rome and stuff like that, my wife and I talk about it. We stayed in Venice. We stayed in a couple different places when we were in Italy. And, you know, you see 20-year-old girls walking their 6-pound dog down a back alley
oh yeah.
with no fear.
Yes. Right.
Wearing a bikini.
Yes. Wearing a bikini.
They weren't wearing a bikini.
Yes. Right.
But
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's, you know, Europe in general is a different environment.
It is.
You
I
know?
mean, and look at the UK right now. They are arresting people for talking about being British.
Yeah.
Like I have a flag up here and we're, you know, and you're like, you're getting arrested for that? Like what is happening?
Right.
You know what I mean? And just weird and crazy things. But I think it's good for people to see how, obviously England is not a third world country, but seeing how third world countries handle things, or like China, like you're talking about, like how they handle things, man, they don't mess around. What was it? Remember the kid, what was it in Taiwan or somewhere, the kid that got caned, he was an American and he vandalized it. Like he spray painted a bunch of cars. This was in the 90s.
God,
you remember that?
Yeah.
And he spray painted cars or something. And then they were like, we are caning this kid. And the U.S. did, I think it was Bill Clinton was the president, try to do everything you could to stop it from happening. They're like, no.
Yeah.
And they caned that kid.
Yeah.
Guess what? He probably never did again.
Went to China.
Well, he never went there, but I guarantee you, I'd go out on a limb and say, yeah, that dude never
Probably
vandalized anything.
Michael Fay, 1994,
that what it
Singapore
was?
sentenced an
Singapore.
American teenager, Michael
Singapore.
Fay, to be lashed 6 times with a cane for violating the Vandalism Act.
Right.
This caused a temporary strain in relations between the U.S. and Singapore.
Yeah.
Imagine that. You're a 17-year-old kid just thinking that you're tagging a fucking car and literally create fucking
International
incident, dude.
And they went through with it. Like he got 6 lashings.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I remember it was a whole thing because they had to put like this huge leather thing on his stomach because it whips around and it could cut your stomach open. I'm like, holy, what was that? 94 you said?
94.
Yeah, he's claimed his confession was false. He only did that to avoid caning. The only thing that he did commit a crime was stealing road signs. Although caning is a routine court sentence in Singapore, Fade's sentence gained controversy and was widely covered in the media as it was believed to be the first corporal punishment involving an American citizen.
Right.
That's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, man. Like,
I mean, I'd hate to fucking get caught stealing in fucking some Arabic country then where they fucking take your fucking hands.
yeah, cut your hand off.
Like,
Yeah.
listen, Donald, I'm going to need you to fucking bomb this fucking place, dude.
Right.
Do
let's
not
go.
let them cut my fucking hand off,
Right.
bro.
Yeah, we need to handle this right now. Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's a ton of, I mean, and that's what people just don't get. You know what I mean? Like, we do. It's the United States obviously is the greatest country in the world, and that we have the system that we do, and there are faults. It's not perfect, but I think it's better than a lot of other alternatives.
Well, it goes to that
You know?
saying, what is it? Strong men create easy times create weak men,
men.
weak men create tough times, or something
Yes.
of that nature.
Yeah.
And that could be what we're seeing. I mean, my grandfather was a World War II.
Yep, mine was too.
And my dad, I was like the generation that just knew how to do everything.
Right.
You know, like
Yes.
they just knew how to work on cars,
Yeah.
build houses,
Yeah,
fucking
they
whatever.
did it all.
And
Yeah.
they learned it like through like being a teenager. Like
Right.
it was just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was just like they picked up these random traits or
Yeah.
traits. And then myself, it was like the beginning of technology for me. And I fortunately didn't grow up with it in high school. I got it later. So I
Right.
feel like I was like more mature, ready to handle it.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, fucking 6-year-olds, like I said, have the power.
Have iPads.
Yeah.
Dude, there's kids that know more about sex and shit like that at like 12 than I knew at like 25.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Wait, what is that called?
Right. Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, think about these. This is a computer.
Yeah.
I mean, the computers before the compact, 64,
Commodore
whatever it was.
64.
Commodore 64.
We were just talking about that the other
size of
day.
this table. You're like, and now it's this.
Fucking Pong was your video game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, it's funny though, because
Yeah.
that's like, I mean, that's more powerful than any fucking computer that was available to us all through high school, even college and beyond. If we went, you know, like you couldn't even buy anything as powerful as that fucking cell phone or the internet that worked as fast as that did. You remember AOL chat or Messenger was like the big thing, and like you know, you had to wait for your dial-up internet to kick in.
What did you see? They just AOL just shut down. Literally just shut down 2 weeks ago. They were like, "Yeah, we're finally done."
With Messenger or with all of AOL?
Yeah, with AOL,
dial-up.
with dial-up. Yeah, I thought I saw that just the other day. They were like, "Yeah, AOL was done with dial-up." Like
sorry, Singapore. There goes your internet.
There it is, dial-up internet to be discontinued.
There it is. Yeah, man. In 2025.
Wow.
I mean,
yes,
we all remember.
as a result, on September 30th, 2025, AOL dial-up internet is no more. You found it out here first.
Well, there goes half of our subscribers.
Yeah, well,
probably.
sorry guys. Sorry. Yeah, we're out.
That is fucking crazy.
One more quick note on Singapore, since we brought that up. So, possession, typical sentencing, caning.
Right.
Trafficking, typical sentence. Any guesses?
No, they kill you.
Death.
Yeah, they kill you. Yeah.
Trafficking. Drugs or humans?
Trafficking,
Well,
narcotics.
probably both, but in terms of narcotics,
Yeah. I think is it Thailand or Laos or something else is like that. There's a couple of other Asian countries that are like that.
I don't remember what it was. I heard her on somebody's podcast years ago, but she talked about like that there's like zero fucking allowance for drugs. Like,
oh yeah, man,
it's like fucking close to death as you can get type shit.
Right.
And like their economy's boomed since that's happened and all this random shit. Like,
oh yeah.
Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. I mean, you fucking Southern Ohio, that's the, I mean, for that was like the it spot for drugs to really kick off.
Yeah,
when
it was.
to the meth and everything
Oh
else.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Meth was a big deal down there for a long time. It was a wild time to work down there. That's for sure.
It's crazy too, because if you go to, I mean, we'll be down in the border area, but Charleston, West Virginia, you could tell it was like a beautiful town at one point. And like there's this huge train station and stuff down there. And I remember one time I was like trying to find a gas station to take a leak in, and like you're like, what the fuck? I need to stop somewhere, and there's nowhere to stop. Everything's closed. This is Charleston. It's like a beautiful area, and the ladies in the day, like they had the blue lights in the fucking bathroom or whatever, so you can't see your veins.
Yeah.
And she's like, this did not used to be like this 20 years ago. It's like this was booming. Like trains coming in here, these buildings were all hotels filled. They didn't have broken out windows. I'm like, 20 years ago, that was it.
Right.
She's like, yeah, that's how fast it destroyed this city.
Yeah.
It's like meth. She's like, I've chased 5 junkies out of my bathroom in a fucking night, like at the same time. Like, yeah, it just happens all the time.
And then you had Oxy's hit.
The Oxy
and all
was
that was
the
when I was
nuclear
working,
bomb for that area.
That's when I was working narcotics. It was such a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it was, legal poison, boys. Legal poison.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It was bad.
And cheap.
Oh, God,
super cheap.
Yeah.
That's they created in between Charleston and Huntington. That's technically where all the pill mills were. There's a stat, I was going to pull it, but I was actually going to go use the bathroom. But then you started talking about this. It's like I just did a shit ton of research on this for our upcoming trip. But but I think per capita it was 28 ODs per day on average in this town. Now again, it's per capita, and their population has always been somewhere just shy of 50,000. So but yeah, when you look at per capita numbers, then it was 1 in 4 people were ODing. Yeah, like on average, not per day. Obviously, 28 would have been the number, but So
that's insane. Like that, you just look at that town down there, and it's like I said, Charleston's a beautiful city. Could be river. You got the river running right through there and stuff, and you can just see what drugs did to a community. Nobody works. Nobody. Just everybody's Fuck. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were easy market for that.
Oh, yeah.
With Cole leaving town, and
Yep.
that as a depression, and people in physical pain and all that. Like,
Yep.
yeah, it was a perfect storm.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Dustin, you're a great guest, man. It was
Thanks,
awesome to
appreciate it.
hear
It was a lot
about all
of
the
fun,
stuff that
yeah.
you're doing, and we'll keep an eye on you, and hopefully, we'll put the description. So you're on Instagram,
Yes,
right?
I'm on Instagram. Yep, Dustin Mowery 337.
Okay.
Yep, that's
and
me.
then they can get information. I was on your site a minute ago. It's is it just Mowery?
Mowery Tactical Concepts. Yep.
Yep. And
Yep,
we'll put the link in the description. That way, if anybody wants to go on anything, they can.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
They can get some training.
Yeah.
If you're in the Ohio area, if you're a local law enforcement or something like that, and you want to get involved in it, Dustin, you're a great guy, man.
Yeah,
Wish
thanks,
you all
man.
the
I
best of
appreciate it.
luck.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It's great being here.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Oh, you never hit record.
Welcome to the night zone. Hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave. Politics and prayers ain't no subject we shun. Keep it real, keep it raw till the battle's won. Fitness tips to faith, every topic under the sun. With honor and valor, every man's battle begun. Warriors with word swords through the air. Every point sharp and every talk fair. Knights at the round table, come and pull up a chair. Join the brotherhood, words laid bare. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all